Facebook and YouTube pages at The One Mic Show, and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. We are also going to be taking live calls tonight at 202-683-4570 and press *5 to speak. Now, later tonight, we're going to be recollecting the Summer Bunny experience while we were away. So many things happening. President Trump has taken office. Different kind of America, people already being deported.
Abductions.
Yes, abductions happening in Kenya. And then, remember, there was that question that I once asked, what are the best investments in Kenya? You know, because that's a question that has never gotten a clear answer. Is there any investment in Kenya that can return your money within 5 years or 4 years? Those are some of the things that we'll be talking about tonight. Na bila kusahau, tapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ Omosh Fire na kudunda kule viwanjani na Mika Ojezeke na Marsaba Mgongoni akituletea habari za michezo. Moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios, ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, nasibagui. Karibuni.
Now, let's talk politics.
All right, so I don't even know whether we're going to talk politics today or it's just going to be a random Friday on things that happened while we were away. We'll have a conversation about that, but I'm of course and producer Ali Badawi, and it's Friday the 22nd of no, it's not the 22nd, it's the 23rd. Is it the 23rd?
24th.
Oh my goodness.
2 with a 4.
Wait.
And it is Friday.
Kweli.
And
Yes.
Friday. It is possibly January.
It is January. Now we don't even know the dates.
Ni Friday. It's possibly January.
Okay, it's Friday, the 24th, possibly January. And we're streaming live from Kilimanjaro Studios outside Washington, D.C. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And on panel with me tonight is Mr. One Mike Kamakawa, sports anchor Mika Och. Might be joining us, might not be joining us. I don't think he's even in the country. I doubt it, but he will be confirming if he's here or not. And then, of course, our resident DJs Omosh Fire is already on the decks. And not forgetting super producer Mubelo Abandio. And I want to give a big shout out to Afro Jamaican, who's already tuned in. Asante sana Afro Jamaican. I can see Kate Bradley is also tuned in. Sema hello people and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Kate.
Happy New Year to you too, Kate Bradley.
And then I can see Stephen JJ all the way from Texas. And I say Happy New Year 2025. We are back to Zidi. Thank you so much. And super producer Mubelo Abandio anauliza kwani washeke ndirangu na Slay Oduor na Ruth Kilungu wako wapi? It seems wako vacation bado.
No, I think for Asheke. Unajua huko Texas kuna baridi na Slay.
Yeah.
Kuna baridi.
Kuna kabaridi huko.
Kuna njeve ile ajab.
Yes.
So I think coughing season
yes
is upon them. Hawajawai I think they're getting used to the baridi.
Okay. Kulikuwa na snow in ama ni baridi tu. Texas ilikuwa ni baridi tu. What about Texas? Let us know.
They had snow. They had snow. They had baridi. Atlanta was right behind them. I don't know who didn't get snow this time around.
Yeah, because I was seeing snow even in Florida.
I think even in California walikuwa
nayo. California had fires.
They had
not
both.
Snow.
They had both.
Okay, Northern California. But then also, I was seeing snow in Pensacola, Florida. I'm like, what in the world is going on? One side, the country is burning, and then on the other side, places that typically don't get very cold weather are getting snow. So that I think that's a premonition of 2025 and how things are gonna be. Na hapa Tabitha Njeri all the way from Houston anasema tulikuwa tunasikia. Tabitha, karibu sana. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, here's a funny thing. You know, like Omosh, as I get started with you. When I went, for some reason, when I go to Kenya, I totally get disconnected from news, from like, I don't ever remember sitting down watching TV or watching the news.
But you're busy doing other things. That's the thing.
What things? Yani, it is
definitely not news.
Yeah,
and in
not
fact,
watching news.
And actually, Ali is right. Actually, sitting down to even watch the screen.
Yeah.
meaning whatever it is that you'd be taking screen time on, you're actually up and about, running around doing
the whole
things.
time. Yeah.
You're checking on those fences of yours that may have been moved. Sijui you're dealing with a surveyor, sijui unaenda kung'ang'ana na vitu za kufanya nini inaitwaje, saa zile masurveyor wanakaa na unaweka kale kasimiti na kale
beacon
na kuweka beacon.
Yeah.
Unang'ang'ana na ule msee wa simiti ati sijui kunegotiate. By the time you're done with all of those things and you come home, you eat, you hit bed.
You hit bed, or you're having conversations with people, with family.
or you're meeting people. Like now, whatever you're doing during the day, you do it during the day. Then at night, you're catching up with certain people who maybe during the day, even them, they were running around doing things. So now at night is the only time you can catch up. And by the time you're done with all of that, maybe it's a loose midnight.
Yeah.
You come home, pop, you're out, because the next morning you have to be in someone's office at 8:15.
Exactly.
Sijui nini kwenda kungangana na kutafutana na ID, sijui passport yako, sijui I don't know what. Then maybe you are sent on a loose errand of letters of administration, and if you know anything about those things, they are not funny. And sijui the landlord is meeting sijui when, then you have to go honga sijui, or did I say that loudly? There's a chap who you have to go see because the landlord is meeting, and then you need that title to come out. Now kuna 2.8 weeks to be there so that you make sure that those things come out. Na unaja mashenani title kutoka wagane tofauti na Nairobi.
Wow.
It's a totally different process.
Totally different process.
And by the way, you're trying to beat the...
Is it longer or shorter?
It's a longer process.
It's a longer process.
Mashenani, yes. And you're trying to beat the shutdown of the lands office, because there's a certain point when they shut down. Ama registrar hata kuwa na registrar saizo alifaya assistant registrar, so ni yeye na yeye peke yake ndiye anaweza piga signature kwa hiyo title yako na ku make sure that green card is okay. Sorry, am I talking too much?
Please stop. No, that's okay.
Let me tell you, Maina. Oh, sorry. Ali. Yani, that thing of land, dealing with titles, dealing with what is it called, ancestral land that you want to then now convert to like it's been passed down, and most people ancestrally don't go and get the title. They just keep it because it's in the same family.
Yeah.
Then you're coming to buy because wewe ndio kona mado. That's when you find out who is who,
yeah,
and who is on what title and why they're on the title. And these 99% of those people, by the way, are dead. So it's like 3 generations down.
Ancestral land is such a mess.
But you guys remember what Sambaza told us? If there's anything that you need to get sorted when it comes to land,
correct,
sort it now.
He's very right.
Sort it now.
He is
because
very
of
right.
his experience with whatever, Memze, rest in peace, but just be on top of it.
He is very right.
Do not.
He's very right.
Do not, because be it ancestral, was in a land, and as Kikuyu say, Teri, soil.
Yeah.
Where?
You know, like this
in
thing,
Kenya, it is gold. It is premium, man.
No, this thing of private ownership of land, I feel like a lot of land, especially now in Nairobi and neighboring counties, has really become overpriced. In Kiambu, for example, there's some spaces where an acre is going for so much money. You're talking about maybe even 50 million.
Ali, which Kiambu are we talking? Because Runda is in Kiambu.
Yeah, Runda is in Kiambu.
So there's different Kiambus.
No, I'm talking about the Kiambu. Wacha. I mean, of course, Runda is known. Those areas are known to have very high cost of land.
Correct.
But I'm thinking now with this land, if you're buying it for 50 million, what exactly is it you're gonna do on that land that is going to recoup your 50 million?
I don't think the person who is buying it at 50 million is about, they're doing it for recouping. Then they're doing it
for other reasons.
The way they're looking at it is probably one of three, where they want to build their home, whether it is their dream home or their forever home, or something that in their mind they're saying, this is legacy.
Yeah.
I'll pass it on down to the kids or to the family, that if I go or when I go and this is still in the farmo, wakiuza inaweza saidia watu inaweza saidia wajukuu, inaweza saidia watoto wao plus wajukuu.
So it's people with generational wealth.
So
they're not people
I don't
who
know
are
if I'd
looking
say
to...
they have generational wealth. They're just looking that once they make this purchase, it's, yes, rightfully so, it's 50 million. You're buying the land at 50 million, then you still need to build on it.
Yeah.
Right? So by the time you're done, all in, you may spend at least 100 meters.
Easy.
Right?
Yeah.
So hiyo ni legacy. Hiyo ni kitu mtu anasema afadhali niende mimi ndio nichukue loan ama niko na do, or it'll take me another 10 years to build this home.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we'll live on the first floor.
Yeah.
And then we'll build the second floor, and then we'll build the other house. So, and a lot of people do that.
But
they're not taking loans to build these houses.
But also, I'll venture to say this. I don't think we have been educated. I don't think we have been programmed to understand generational wealth.
That
we have not.
I think a lot of us that is true. A lot of us don't get it. But
even
but
the people from back in the day.
But we know there's something that you get, because normally the people back in the day, si ilikuwa mashinani kuna shamba, right?
Right.
So that is what people always pass down. At least shamba, you knew you are getting somewhere, and you had like a small car area where you'll build like a small car little hut.
Yes.
Right? Now it has switched to the point where people are realizing that I can actually give you something that is more tangible than kale ka shamba ya ocha.
Yes, but I think the programming Uno is talking about is the programming that's there is parents still want their children to experience some element of struggle. You know, like unajua kawaida generational wealth, if this is where I started, I would want my child to start here. But now bado kuna hii kitu, you have to work hard. Unaona saa kama mzungu for example, for example, they give you a foot ahead.
Correct.
Like when you're 21, you're already getting something, a down payment for your home.
Right.
Maybe your parents struggle to get that down payment, but sasa wewe anakuweka at another level, you're starting at a different level.
I will disagree with that.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I think it's not that they don't know what having
which they, because I think
I'm talking about the parents who have kakitu. Because
you're talking about
our
which
parents.
generation, like our parents or the next
prior to
generation.
that. No, even before. Because,
Okay.
because work with me on this one.
Endelea.
You know, when you look at when I say generational, like meaning that you can, let's say for example, like akina Henry Ford, akina
Rockefeller,
those guys, those guys set up something.
Yeah.
Whatever it was they did, they set up
Yeah.
something that
their kids would
it's
pick
generational.
up. Yeah, it's generational. Yeah.
When I get who can we say in Kenya set up Kenyan, not Mzungu, Kenyan, set up generational wealth?
Maybe the
apart
Kenyatta
from Jomo,
family.
apart from Jomo.
There's a few rich families.
But you see, the thing is,
Kibaki's family.
yeah, okay, sawa. But
and then the Indian families, there are many.
The Indian families.
There
yes.
are many.
Yeah.
but you see now and that right there is the kicker, because those Indian families, we never hear of them.
Because they're never loud.
They're never.
They're never
there
loud,
we
yeah.
go.
Yes,
There we go.
But that doesn't mean
Chandarias.
but that doesn't mean that they are taught generational. It's just
No, they
that-
are taught.
No, hold on. It's there. The wealth is there. Okay,
but you're also
and
taught.
you also have to look at the way they live. They don't live like us.
No. But also, no. Let me put it this way. Whenever we would go to any Ibrahim's or any school uniform or any shop,
Yeah.
who was serving us when we were toys?
Me was Indian.
See, it was the Indians who won the show.
It was them. But who do you see over there, going over there, looking, pulling up the uniforms?
Working for them. They used to employ a lot of Kambas.
The cows.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
But
okay, fine.
but they would
one.
also you'd
But
also
what I'm
find
saying,
their kids.
Their kids.
You'd
Yeah,
also
their
find
kids, yeah.
Their kids were introduced to this game a long time
At
ago.
look as a spare shop, like Pale
But
Kirinyaga
sahi,
Road.
it may change.
No.
It may change,
But you see,
it's
okay,
different.
It may change. It may have changed. But I'm saying that in itself, right there, was setting up something, because now this
So I think you're talking about succession.
Yes, yeah, no,
yeah,
it's,
you're
there's
talking
also
about
succession,
which
Yeah.
is different from understanding generational wealth.
but in itself also, if you're
Succession
understanding,
is some kind of
it
also
is,
generational
it is
wealth.
because you're understanding how
So
this
the,
thing
the
works.
succession here, to me, in fact, the way I'm looking at it, it's also I attribute it to the same as the Chinese here, where you go to the Chinese store, you'll always find their toys are the ones who are like taking the orders, or they are running things in the background.
I-
blah,
I-
blah,
I-
blah,
I think
right?
another thing
They're
we're missing
understanding-
here-
they're understanding the business.
I think another thing we're missing here now, black Kenyans, regular African Kenyans,
Correct.
we kind of have to define what generational wealth is.
Correct.
Because sometimes maybe the wealth you have is not something that can be considered generational. I have my own definition of what can potentially become generational wealth. Generational wealth, first of all, if you're the first generation and you're the rich one, you're not in survival mode. If you're still in survival mode, you cannot create generational wealth, whether you have a business or whatever.
Correct.
If you're still in survival mode, but when you're outside survival mode, meaning all your day-to-day expenses are generally taken care of until you die, then at that point, you can start talking generational wealth. Generally speaking, up at the US, I would say anything up to 1 million. That's still, and I know this may sound extreme, but that's still survival wealth to a certain extent. You can't call it generational.
Depends, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it
because at
depends.
1 million is when you can start living on the returns of your money without having to work anymore. So at that point, to me, I think generational will start at around 10 million. That's by American standards. By the time unafika huko 10 million, now you're in generational wealth territory, whereby even your grandkid is already taken care of, even before they are born.
But maybe we need to understand that more.
Yes. So
I get it. Me, I think Ali is being a little bit harsh. Me, my opinion on it, on the generation, is that basically you can pass it from one generation to the other. And the only reason I say that is that the next generation doesn't have to purchase it. So indeed, I look at it as wealth as opposed to a tax burden. So even if it's a house,
yeah.
even if it's whatever, this person already has a soft landing. They don't have to go and purchase it. And that's the difference. Unaona kama tulikuwa tunaongea story ya wazungu. That's how you see our wazungu wa sijui the grandchild was left a how by the grandparent.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not their parent who left them the house. It was the grandparent who left
Yeah.
them the house, right? The grandparent has died, and the house is now for the toy. The toy is 18.
Yeah.
Ndiye anaenda kuingia kole, then you find out that, oh, by the way, they even had money set aside for this college fund ya huyu mtoto, not the parent.
Yeah.
So huyu mtoto amelipiwa kole na kona nyumba tayari.
Yeah.
And then their paros say, unaenda kole, I'm gonna get you a car and pay for it. Pap, akona gari tayari.
Yeah.
So by the time anamaliza kole, akona degree, akona nyumba, akona gari. So they are like 3 steps ahead of the black guy.
Yes, absolutely.
And now we go back
Who's
home.
starting afresh?
Yes, now we go back home to our parents, or should I say to the parents now? I'm not going to say our parents, to the parents now. They are already at struggle mode, as Ali has put it.
Yes.
So even at that point where they would go and purchase a house, an apartment, and leave it for their child, that's but a dream, because their dream is just, let me pay school fees for the child, and the child finishes. Then maybe huyu mtoi akiomoka atatu,
Yeah.
tutaomoka sisi sote. That's their goal for a lot of the parents on the ground now.
Yeah.
Now, the generation of our parents, and when I say our parents, I'm including you guys in this equation, is they understood it a different way, and they had the opportunity and wherewithal to even go make a purchase of a house, whether it was in Buru, whether it was
Yeah.
in Umo, whether it was in Mada, whichever place it was, they had the opportunity to do that, which means that all things considered, if they went all the way mpaka they retired, which, some of us, our parents have figured that age, then, and I think actually all of us here. So then now there's something that they can leave for their kids.
For the upcoming generation.
Yes, whether it's the kids or whether it's the grandkids.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they always look at the grandkids because they're saying, hapana wewe mtoi, you my toi, I set you up such that you have the ability to fend for yourself. So, hii nyumba ndawachia mtoto wako. Meaning if you yourself, you cannot sort them out, at least they'll be sorted with this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's important, especially for people who live in the diaspora, whenever you're in the process of acquiring wealth, especially in Kenya, think about your children, the ones you have here. If something happened to you, will they be able to access it? Are they interested in it?
That's the key right there.
Yes.
Are they interested? Have you involved them?
How easy is it to liquefy it? And how are you involving them? And these properties that you own, these assets that you own, are they income generating or are they dead capital? That's another very key question you have to ask yourself. Are they income generating or are they dead capital? And I ask this because a lot of diasporans, like even like when we're back in Kenya, a lot of people like buying this shiny stuff. Like a new apartment here, like a piece of land there. But I think a key question you should be asking yourself, are these assets income generating? And then the key question is, whatever you bought, how long will it take to recover your money? That is one question that a lot of diasporans do not ask themselves, and we end up making bad investments in Kenya. What are examples of bad investments that we make? And I know this is gonna sound very harsh. When you buy these apartments for rental, a rental apartment or even Airbnb, it might easily take you 10 years or more to recover your money. So is that really a good investment? An investment where you're taking up to 10, 11, 12 years to recapture your money? Is this a good investment? First of all, is it a good investment for you? Then a lot of people like talking about, I'm investing in the Kenyan economy, I'm helping people. There are those kinds of investments where no one, even if it's someone getting employed, maybe it's one caretaker. You see that same 10, 15 million that you purchased an apartment with. That same money, I was talking to, I was using a lot of Ubers. Baze Ubers, yani mpaka sometimes inafika so mbili, you wonder how much are these drivers making?
0.0.
Yeah.
200 shillings.
200 shillings,
it's
yeah.
200, it's 200, Bob.
Yeah.
220, I think, was what the minimum was, I think.
Mine was going back at 200.
About 220 is
Mine
what
was going
seeing.
down back at 200. So
in some cases, it was 200, depending on the time.
So I wanted to understand, the Uber business, the rideshare business in Kenya, if I want to come in as an investor. And I got to understand that if you have a car, the going rate, there were some drivers who were telling me 1,000, there were some who were telling me 1,500 per day.
Correct.
That's what you get as the
yeah.
car owner. So per week, you're talking about 9,000.
Yeah.
9,000. Per year, you're 9,000 times 50 weeks. That's 450,000. Maybe you bought the car for like 700,000. You're talking about Uber Chap Chap, these small ones. Maybe you bought it for 700, 800.
Hiyo 700 haiko.
Okay.
Ni 900.
Okay, let's call it 900.
Ni 900.
Let's call it 900. So you make 450, and then maybe expenses, service, insurance, nini, you take off 50,000. So you have, on an investment of 900,000, you're getting 400,000. Or let's even call it even 300,000 after taking away all the expenses. Now think about it. If you had 9 million, you could buy 10 of those Ubers. And you're making 300,000 from each a year. So 300,000, you multiply that by 9 Ubers, that comes to around 2.7 million. So let me ask, if you buy an apartment for 9 million, are you going to make 2.7 million a year?
No.
Exactly. And now you see, with those 9 Ubers, you've employed 9 drivers. And you're making more money. So and I'm not telling you to go try that business and then ukosane na Uber driver and then you come for me, oh Ali nini. But I'm just saying generally for those who understand the business, that will give you a better return rate than if you go and buy an apartment for 9 or 10 million,
But that
and then
is-
you're renting it for 60K.
But that is based on having a constant Uber driver, paying them.
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
No. The driver is paying you.
the driver pays you.
The driver pays
It's
you.
not- it's-
So you just get
regardless.
1,500.
Yes.
You get 1,500
Yeah.
a day. That's
Okay.
a deal.
Oh, what about expenses?
But that's on them.
So
I mean, that's why he
so
said
you
he
have
was,
the
he was
expense
subtracting the
you have the
expenses.
expense,
The
your
only
service,
expense you
yeah.
have is service and the insurance.
and the insurance,
Okay.
which is why I did 50K. I
Yeah.
put 50K.
Okay.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then, of course, if you have an
Y-
accident.
Yeah, if you have an accident, nanini. So
And those are the hidden charges.
No,
they're hidden
but again,
charges.
the accident is.
In
That-
addition
that's why I reduced the profit from 400K a year to 300K
Oh,
to cater for any unexpected circumstances.
let us just
the
agree.
bribe is not
Yeah.
on you.
Annex-
That's on the driver. The driver has to sort himself out.
Okay,
Unless
sawa.
gari yako imeshikwa na
Yeah, no,
haezi,
no,
then
what I'm
now
trying
sasa
to
wewe
say-
ndio unaenda kuitoa.
What I'm
Not
trying
unless
to
the
say,
drivers colluded for with a guy and say gari imeshikwa.
what I'm trying to say is that when you buy an apartment for 9 million, maybe in Madaraka or wherever, because that's how much they're going for now, then unapata rent ya 60K. Per year, that's gonna be 720K. As opposed to this guy who's used 9 million to buy 10 cars. And from these 10 cars, all those 10 drivers are paying him 9,000 shillings a week. Each one of them is paying him 9,000 shillings a week. 9,000 times 10. So in 1 week,
So would I be wrong in saying that if you had conducted this test for a year
yeah.
and then you came here and told us that it's feasible, would
Yeah.
I be wrong in doubting that prospectus? Doubt in terms of like, okay,
What, the numbers?
yeah, the
That
numbers,
they're not
and because
possible?
you've talked to somebody.
You see
Yeah.
what's interesting? Ali and I have never talked about this. What Ali is saying is right, because I also did my survey. Me, I was just asking those chaps. I always do that. I sit in the cars because I do Uber a lot, and I talk to them and I ask them, okay, how long have you been in the business? Some of them are like, in fact, this was a part-time business. Now it's become full-time because I lost my job, or things didn't work the way they were working. So now I have to come in and do this. And then some of them are owner operators. Some of them
Yeah.
are actually people who pay, who pay a partner. That's what they're called, right?
Yeah.
So they pay somebody who's actually the owner of the vehicle, and then they're the ones who are like the master, I guess, owner of this particular account that Uber deals with. So those numbers that Ali is giving are about right, between 1,000 and 1,500.
To 1,500
And by
a
the
day,
way,
yeah.
those numbers went down. They used to be higher.
They used to be to 2,500.
Yeah, it
They
used
used
to
to
be
be 2K.
2,500,
Yeah,
yes.
but it went down.
It went down
Yeah.
because, again, Uber's fees also went down. And then there's more vehicles on the road. Like, in
Yes.
fact, every small car or every other small doo-doo is
an Uber. Yeah.
or a
Bolt.
Uber or a
Or
Bolt,
Bolt.
or a little cab, or there's another one. I forget. There's another.
Faras.
There's another new
There's
one.
Faras. There's one
I
that's
think
called Faras.
Maybe that's the
And
one.
then there's
that
there's
one is new.
Faras
Faras.
ni wa Somali hiyo hapo.
It
Yeah.
is new
no,
though.
no,
Yes,
there's,
yes, it's
there's
new.
another one even apart from that one.
Yeah.
Kuna ingine apart
Little
from
cab
that.
ile
No, no, little
Safaricom.
cab imekuwa.
Yeah.
Little cab imekuwa.
Faras is very new.
Faras is fairly new. Yeah.
It came probably
I-
this last year.
And maybe, and you see, like, even like, say for instance, like this one here that he's saying, the Thomalis, that is just one of those instruments that has been brought around because of the gap or disconnect that these other rideshare services don't give. Because a lot of times they want to be in a cab that is either driven by same sex,
Yes.
or they have a comfortability level of having it being one of their community members who's actually driving the vehicle, which means that now they are safe.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing that people are having now is,
Safety.
is insecurity.
Yeah.
Whether it is Bolt, because Bolt was number one, but even Uber now. has that insecurity. Did you know that on the Uber app there's a way that you can even, there's a security
You can
feature.
share.
Wacha share. Hata kuna ile vile unaweza pigia awase.
Yeah. There's a security
There's a
feature
security
in case
feature which
you're
you
in
turn
distress.
on.
Yeah.
So like let's say for instance, the dere is supposed to take you from I guess from Westlands to say Kilimani. Lakini ile barabara anafaa kutumia pengine tuseme ni James Gishuru. Anatumia ingine.
Yeah.
So vile naitumia, maybe now him is going towards what's this road? Not Uhuru Highway. Let's say Wayakiwe. Anapiga Wayakiwe na nenda anapita Kianda akiendelea. Unaona? Sasa wewe unajiuliza, lakini
Anapeleka Ungem.
unaona? Na yeye pengine saa hizo amepigiwa simu na msee apitie uko somewhere uko Wangige, wherever you want to call it, somewhere over there before then he'll cut across, then he'll come out to call signs of nini what's this place called, starts with a D, but he'll come out those
Dago.
sides. Dago, yes, he'll come out sides of Dago because kuna vile unaweza kata uende utoke Dago ama utoke Ongwaro here. So the problem here is that you, as now imagine it's a female, it's at night, and by night maybe even 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So who are you supposed to contact? Even if you called somebody, so there's that feature within Uber, you can go in and you can sema you are
Yeah, in case you're in distress.
and then they actually call they'll call you, then you talk to them and they'll hold you on the phone, and that time they call the driver, they tell the driver peleka huyo mutu hapa, they'll tell you just go over there ABC ile petrol station ya ABC. And hapo when you fika there petrol station ya ABC, guess what, there's another Uber driver waiting for you. You get in that one and they peleka you home.
Yeah.
But in cases like that, sasa now you know when something like that happens, that person will never drive for Uber. But and that is the extreme. On
Security-
the extreme side.
security
But
is
they do
becoming
have-
important.
They do have those security features because it has been a huge problem with Bolt, and a lot of these jamas also go offline. So sazile ride ameanzisha ride alafu
Anazima.
ananyoka simu yake, so now they can't be contacted.
They can't
through
track
the
him.
app.
Yeah.
They can't track him, and you yourself you're looking, you're saying hapana huyu jamaa anaenda route ingine hafai kuenda, na we mwenyewe unajua route that a lot of times they'll even ask you like, okay, what route do you want to use?
Yeah.
And then you tell them which one you want to use, and if you're in agreement, then obviously you're not activating that Uber thing. So anyway, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that security is a huge issue. And so for certain people, especially Wasomali, it's a huge deal
In
for
fact-
them to even trust someone who's not in the family.
In fact, Faras is more expensive. And I was asking why it's more expensive. So, and then that's what I was being told. There are those options where you can choose gender. You can,
Yes.
there's certain choices that you have
Correct.
that these other apps are not providing, which is very interesting. Nancy
Even here, they
Milosi-
have an app that does that, Empower.
Okay.
Empower is only in this area, I think in North Carolina. I think so, yeah. And you can choose gender, you can nini, and the drivers get 100% of the fare.
Okay. Now, Nancy Mirosi hapa ana comment all the way from Iowa, anasema we have missed you guys. Those kids may never go back to Kenya. Also, they will have a hard time navigating the Kenyan system, aka corruption. That was regarding the conversation that we had
About
before.
land, about
Yeah. And then on Uber drivers, do they also pay for taxes, including housing? I've never known how the gig economy works in Kenya. Whether they're taxed the same way.
I think I was asking them, and it's almost like because they don't really get a paycheck.
They don't get a paycheck.
They're not
so-
getting it. They're not Uber employees. They are contractors.
Yes.
So I think if someone knows how that works,
Yeah,
please
they're
type
not
up in
Uber
the comments and let us know.
I think I had asked them,
Yeah.
and they told me that.
But back to you, Uno. Hiyo math naona kidogo ulikuwa unaidoubt.
Inamchanganya.
No.
Inamchanganya.
Inanichanganya. That is true. But here's the thing.
What I'm trying to say is that these businesses that people are used to, Airbnb and rental, those are
In that context-
those are very low profit businesses. That diasporans should not be. We should be leaving those for locals. Sasa see, we should be looking.
People should be thinking.
We should be thinking
past that,
ideas.
what he's saying.
We should be thinking of these ideas that have higher returns, where you can return your money within a shorter period of time.
My apprehension is one,
Yeah.
because my mother has been is a
Amekuwa kwa
was
hiyo business.
She was in transport.
Taxi.
Yeah.
Transport. Yeah.
Transport.
And
Yeah.
and you know what? Endelea. I'm gonna come back. Endelea.
has
Yeah.
been in transport.
Yes.
And for her, competition was ideally Uber and
Yeah.
Bolt.
Correct.
But she understands it very well. She has been doing it since she had been doing it since 2002, before
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
Two-
before Uber and all of
I
this.
mean,
came
oh,
in.
way before.
Yeah.
So she
Yes.
knows it.
But see, having done
And-
it since 2002, Mbaka pandemic, that means there's something she knew about the business and she was making
But you see,
some
but
good money.
she had contracts with NGOs.
Yeah.
Kulikuwa na
Yeah, to
contracts
provide
that were
transport.
different.
Yes.
As many other companies also, until now Uber and Bolt and Lyft came about, that they disrupted the career. Like even when you go
Yeah.
to Washington or you go to ID or you go to DCA,
Yeah.
that is one. Two, I've sat down with a guy. There was this possibility of, instead of our multi just swatching,
Correct.
let us put it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get something out
To
of
get
it.
something, because I find it chochote. That is okay. But now, then there was another process of hiring somebody or getting somebody who
Yeah.
can be able to manage that. And you can't pick up the car, tukubaliane, this is what we're gonna do, we expect this from you, whatever, what are your qualifications, whatever. Again, there are so many things that, like on the government side, that this guy has to qualify for to be able to drive
Correct.
a taxi.
Yes.
You also have to register your car
Yes.
as
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be carrying vehicle, to be carrying
PSV,
people, whatever, PSV, insurance.
They have to have
There's
good
that.
conduct. Then they have to go get a certificate of I don't know what and all of that. Yeah, there's all sorts of different things that you need at a minimum, and then of course register with Uber itself.
Yes.
Since
And
you,
whoever
the
service,
owner of the vehicle is not
Yes.
going to be whatever.
Yeah.
And
You're
whoever
not a partner.
and we're talking about Kilifi here now.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I get
Mhm.
that is one. That is one aspect. Then it is a matter of now sourcing the guy or the driver or the person
Yeah.
who can do this.
Yeah. And that's a tough part, getting a trusted driver.
And I sat down with a guy who had been doing this business from 1991 in Kilifi.
Mm-hmm.
Akaniambia, boss, mimi na baby yangu have been operating this business ourselves because we don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Which means that this guy, hata mtu akikuja, he has to vet you. This
Yeah.
guy has been doing business from 91.
Extreme vetting. Yeah.
Correct.
And this we were talking about 2020, maybe 22. And I'm like, what? Because over here you're being told, let's put this guy over here. One, you'd have to let that car be monitored. It's like unasema, because the question was, can we put this car in your fleet? Then you can manage. You give us
Yeah.
something. It's like, no, yeah, don't do that. And I don't encourage anyone to do that. Unaget?
Yeah.
I don't encourage anyone to do that.
At the end
But-
of the day, it's a risk.
No, it is a risk. But
Yeah.
this one,
but that
the
guy, I'll tell you that particular person,
Uh,
because they've been dealing with taxi business and Uber business is a totally different
They're
thing.
two different things. Yeah.
and by the way, yes, it is different. The Uber, the Uber, Bolt, whatever. Because this one was ideally taxi. Because the guy is selling, Sasa, you have to look at and you have to think about officer, sijui nini, you have to do this. Me, I'm like, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna get into all this.
Yeah. So here's
But I
the-
think the what needs to happen is to have somebody who has, if somebody has been actually doing Uber / or rideshare.
So not necessarily Uber. That was just one example.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
like the rideshare,
Yeah.
the rideshare business.
But that's just one example
Yeah.
of where you have to suffer some element of risk for you to get a better
But
return.
but if minimally those are the returns, of course, rent
yeah.
share.
Yeah, because me, I'm saying the rental and the Airbnb business has a lot of safety. You know, like it's easy. You know, like rental, at most you're just receiving
By
a
the way,
certain.
you know, I was sent a picture the other day. Somebody was telling me that these are the effects of doing a Airbnb. Unaona microwaves sijui imeng'olewa wire, and this is
Yeah.
in Kenya.
Yeah,
Sijui in other words, you're left. You think a house
Yes.
is not whatever, but it is in tatters. Ali.
yeah. So hapa kwanza, let me read. I see Washeke ameingia, and Mwangari is saying Happy New Year. Mwangari is saying investing is about balancing risk and reward. To achieve financial goals, start by understanding your risk tolerance and setting clear objectives, research opportunities, thoroughly risks, and always consider the potential ROI before committing. Patience and discipline are key. Another way to boost ROI is by strategically using leverage. By investing less of your own cash and utilizing external funding, you can amplify your returns while preserving capital for other opportunities. While leverage can accelerate growth, it also increases risk. So careful planning and risk management are essential. And leveraging is like, for example, when you borrow like money against your home, like a home equity loan, and then maybe use that as a down payment to purchase another house, and then you rent it out. So rather than pay 500,000, you only pay 100,000. But then you're receiving rent ya nyumba ya 500,000. So I think that's what she's talking about, leveraging. Yeah, and of course, leveraging also comes with risk. If your idea fails, then you're now stuck with that loan that you have to pay, regardless of whether your idea works or not. And then I can see Adrian Chege here saying just jumped in.
Adrian.
And Adrian. Adrian. Just jumped in.
Adrian.
NTSA requires DL insurance, TLB also among other requirements just to drive on Uber or Lyft. And then M is telling Omosh, you've got the number 5 on the wrong color jersey, JD5, raise hail. Okay, so hiyo tungoje weekend, you know, like football is coming this weekend.
Sisi tuliangusha na Macandrews.
I will not answer
Macandrews
that person.
alitufinya.
Yeah,
But ni sawa.
but what I'm saying is, as people in the diaspora, because we have very easy investments that are gonna double here within 7 years. You know, an S&P 500 investment, generally speaking, doubles within 7 years on average. And when you convert that to Kenya shillings, it's about 5 years, because the Kenya shilling in the long term depreciates against the dollar. So to me, the benchmark in Kenya, you know, like this is a cheat sheet I'm giving you. The benchmark, any idea that cannot return your money within 5 years, I would say even within 4 years, it may not be worth your time, because you can easily get that money here while you're asleep. Now, there are some business ideas whereby the money doesn't start, like farming, for example. The money doesn't start coming in year one. But now when umepanda, umegrow miti zako za avocado and all these other things that are long term, now maybe year 5, now you're gonna start minting some good money. So it's understandable. If it's one of those long-term businesses where the first few years there'll be struggle, that's okay. But then if it's easy business, come a rental, it's gonna take you 10 years.
But I think you're right, and I think what Wangari said,
Yeah.
is understanding your market. Understanding just whatever you wanna
that's-
whatever you wanna get
and-
into.
But that's the
isome.
problem. That's
Yeah.
the problem with
Isome.
that's a problem with Kenyans, especially watu wa diaspora, when they are trying to invest in Kenya, because they go with what they are hearing.
I know they've been told and all they've been sold.
Or what everyone else is doing.
Na hapo ndio
Broti
pale kuna-
broti makuta makuta.
Boss,
Yeah.
unajua Airbnb huwaga ngapi? But there are some people who are not eating the entire cost of Airbnb. All they're doing is they wait for a new building to come up. They come and they rent it.
Yes.
So guess what? They've not purchased that unit. They have rented the unit. And whatever market research they've done, or whatever they have in their line or whatever, it's such that, let's say they've rented that unit at 70K. But
Yeah.
every night when they rent it out, it's bringing between 4 to 5K. So they know that after, say, 10 to 15 nights, they've made their money.
They've made their rent.
Anything above that
is pesa ya mfukoni.
is profit.
Yeah.
Now, saa zingine unaweza pata msee wa 4, unaweza pata msee wa 5 ama msee wa 7. Inategemea.
I'm a whole month.
Inategemea,
you're right, yes.
But I mean
Inategemea.
whole month, because you see, you're not interested in whole month. You're interested in daily.
Daily,
You see, so unaweza ambia mtu okay, sawa, kama utachukua 2 nights in a row or 3 nights in a row, maybe naweza kukatia kaso 5 hapa ama ka 1,000 because I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking, let me make my money for rent for this month.
Yeah. Now, by the way, Kenya Airbnb, you have to do that physical marketing.
Correct.
You know, people who think that they're
Now,
going to do
yes, waga
Airbnb
kitu ya
just
kujuana.
relying on the app.
No. Waga
Yeah.
ni kitu ya kujuana because
Ni kujuana, by the
let's
way.
say you
Yeah.
have the
255.
units. You have, say, 4 or 5 units, right? Well, guess what? You're gonna let me know. You're gonna let Ali know. You're
Yeah.
gonna let, and then I in turn will let. So then I could be sitting somewhere
Yeah.
eating lunch, and I jama's like, "I bana almost, but I'm looking for Airbnb." Hold on.
Ali's a hookup.
Hold
Call
on,
this
wait
guy.
fast.
Yes,
Wait fast. Let me even
Sasa,
now even in there I become a broker.
Yeah.
You hata mi pia
and you
naku-
get something.
nakula ka five
Sasa, there's a guy sitting in the diaspora who's bought an Airbnb. Well, other people are doing that physical marketing. Him is just waiting for the app. So remember, you're now competing with units because the guy who said, I want an Airbnb, because he's already been connected, he's not going to go to the app. So now you're competing with guys who are out on the ground marketing. So you own a shangani kwa nini Airbnb yangu is only being booked maybe for 2 or 3 nights in a month. And it's happening. These are the things that people don't tell you.
I know people who at the end of the night, let's say Ali, now we have I don't know, 15 or 16 Airbnbs, right?
Yeah.
In the Kilimani area, right? They're all by 7 p.m. they've not been rented.
Yeah.
So pretty much at that point you're saying, "Hey, this is
In
It's going zero, yeah.
imeenda."
Yeah.
Our common chap who we all know, a realtor, okay, I will not mention his name, or you can mention if you want to, but anyway, sasa yeye ametumiwa ma DMs, akambiwa, boss, I have units, maybe that unit was supposed to be going for 4K,
Yeah.
but because this person wants to rent it out, they're willing for it to go for 3.5,
Yeah.
ama even 3.
Yeah.
They're like, I have units, I have 4 units, they're all going for 3, na hii ndio nini. Guess what? Yeye ndiye anafanya ile party ya kusikiza old school. Si anaambia wase, by the way, kama mtu kama Airbnb niko nazo.
Yeah.
And all he does is he gives the codes, pap, where they are, address, kila kitu, boom. And chaps pay him. They pay him, he'll charge them 4, gives the owner 3. Anakula kawan kake.
Yeah.
Na ameuza 10.
Biashara ni biashara.
Ama ameuza.
Yeah.
So in a night, in a good night, because he already has the audience in front of him, okay, these chaps are here. He gets 10 Airbnbs and he's coolering a finder's fee of 1,000 times 10.
That's time.
Yeah. So you're
So
competing. Yeah.
again, like Ali said, it's your network becomes your net worth.
Yes.
At that point.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the other area, for example, that I would encourage diasporans to go into is mambo agribusiness or farming. This is an area that personally I'm very illiterate in, but it's an area that from what I've come to learn, it has some very good returns, especially if you
know
can
what you're
engage.
doing, yes.
If you know what you're doing, and if you can engage in large scale farming, it
Correct.
has some good money.
You
So let
rent,
me- let-
you
let-
rent
let-
land and
Let me provide context. So my brother had a stall. He does tracking, audio,
vehicle tracking.
vehicle tracking and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Biashara yake ilikuwa pale Westlands, pale karibu opposite ile Ajip, Westlands Market. He had a business over there opposite Yaya Tires. Anyway, so there used to be a stall over there. Castall is not bigger. It's
Like a 10 by 10.
maybe
Half the size of the studio.
way small.
Okay.
Okay,
you-
Standing room.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
a M-Pesa, it's like a M-Pesa nini.
Yes,
Then that's even less than
it's-
10 by
it's
10.
like
Way
M-Pesa cube.
less
Yeah.
than
It's
10 by
enough
10.
for one person, actually 2 people tops.
maybe 2
and
at
they-
most. But now you have
yes.
got product
Yeah.
Yes.
you've got whatever.
Yeah.
So hapa umse alikuwa nauza, like eggs, dania, onions, whatever. That place used to be humming. Sometimes unaona magari zinakuja. So like when I would go visit, naketi tu inje tu.
Yeah. But
Naangalia.
demand iko juu.
Demand iko juu because guess what? On top of that, anauza tu soda, anauza tu nini, watu
Correct.
wamekuja.
Yes, the market.
And by the way, it's next to a market. So there are guys who are coming, wananunua onions, wananunua dania, wananunua whatever. Mi naangalia tu. Umse by the way alikuwa anakuja nikaa trip mbili. Na akona Hilux, Toyota anakuja, ana drop. Alafu kuna vitu zingine anachukua. Alafu anapeleka. And when I'm talking about people who are coming to that store, you can see that these guys are dressed in those chef, those my white coats, whatever.
Yes.
Or guys are just coming to pick up stuff. Onions, nyanya, dania, potatoes or whatever. Aka small.
Also, your bro was selling those
No,
things.
not him.
Yeah.
The guy
Opposite.
next.
Or
'Cause
the
he
guy
need-
opposite,
Yeah,
yeah.
the guy opposite.
Yeah.
And that place was constantly
Yes.
busy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came to find out that you're finding chefs or people who are working. So over there, around there, you have
All those restaurants.
all those ones. Hapo karibu na Sarit. No, those market.
Yeah, Market Electric Avenue, all of those. Yes.
Wanakuja kununua hapo.
Yeah.
And this is farm produce.
Yeah.
And I'm like, umse anaokota pesa. And this was every day.
Yes.
Monday through Saturday.
Na
I don't know about Sunday.
utapata mtu kama huyo hapo, ROI yake is very high.
It's huge.
His ROI is very high. And you see hizo businesses kama farming, which have been ignored for a long time for people preferring employment, ati farming ni watu wa zamani. Like the people who are doing it the right way and the people who understand what they're doing, they're making a lot of money.
Because this guy is from wherever he's coming from,
Yeah.
even if he's going to source, we don't know if he has a farm or not, but wherever he's going to source,
Yes.
you can see guys are coming, chefs, sous chefs or whatever, I'm going to assume.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just chilling and I'm watching. Me on vacation. But I'm
Yeah.
watching this guy, I'm like, umse anakuja.
So the guy is just collecting money the whole
Bro,
day.
watu wanakuja na mikokoteni. There's some guys who are coming because alikuwa na come sometimes na 2 or 3 trips na pickup truck yake ana drop vitu. Akidrop una 2 gari zinakuja. Waru whatever zinapokea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And this was
Those are the businesses, like what I've come to learn, yani, just from talking to a lot of people, especially those businesses sometimes that seem, like small, beyond me. Those are the ones that have good returns, and that's the direction. Sasa unaona kama sasa, like if you can, as a diasporan, you have maybe 10 million to invest. And you think of going into some kind of farming venture, that may have a good return. Another area that has a good return is the development of property. Not buying it, but the development and selling it. So the Somalis, Somalis have been getting a lot of flack because they've been doing so much work across the city, across the country. In Nairobi, especially when it comes to properties. I actually had an opportunity to visit the famous BBS Mall in Eastleigh.
Please do tell us.
Yes.
Does it smell like, what did they say to smell? Perfume.
No, this is an ultra-modern mall. It's like
Hizo
wali-
inaitwa Bint El Sudan.
those
Yeah.
ones.
Walisema inanuka kama perfume.
No, well, here,
Hotel Sudan.
well, here's the thing. This is an ultra-modern mall. It's like any mall that you're gonna walk in the US, and then they've divided it. Kuna area huko chini, it's just furniture. Like if you wanna furnish your home, there's just different furniture vendors. And then there's another area where they're selling clothes, nguo. And then there's another area, they of course have a very amazing food court. And then karibu bank zote ziko huko. I saw NCBA, I saw yani there was just multiple banks in there. They have their own space. And then of course kuna nguo za wanaume, nguo za wamama. And then the mall is still, there's some parts that are still under construction that you can still see because it's still a fairly new mall. And then the thing that was most amazing, especially now for me, is that Somalis have this thing where whenever they build something, they will always have a space. They will always dedicate a space for people to pray. Because sisi Islam, you know, like it's very demanding 5 times a day. So people in business, people who are shopping there, wanataka kuwa hapo, they don't have to go away.
Yeah.
So these guys at the very top of the mall, they are built. Me, I thought it was, initially in my mind, I thought it was just a space for people to pray, but it's a full mosque. Uko juu. It's a full mosque. You know, like I don't know the capacity, but it is extremely it's extremely big. And then they have another floor for women. They have one floor for men and another floor for women. So I found that very interesting. And that's
I remember you saying something that they're not really catering to Muslims as much.
No, they're catering to everyone.
Yeah.
They're catering to everyone.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like sasa kama weni Muislamu na uko hapo una shop, imefika time ya prayers, you just go upstairs. And it's a full-fledged mosque. It's a full-blown mosque. I can see a couple of comments here coming in. Nancy says, agree on agribusiness. My friend's mom from Nakuru has 1 acre. She has a global recognition for her work. She is using that land to make great money. Small scale, US, Japan, SA, etc.
And by the way, our family in Nakuru. By the way, ebu tuambie Nancy, toboa
Nancy, give us more details. There's some people who are familiar with Nakuru over here, so give us a bit more details.
Yes.
But how unaona with and then back to a Somali. The other thing that also Somalis have been doing is that I know Emily Wangare has been talking about leverage. Somalis don't get loans from banks. They don't. They pull their money together. That is more powerful than getting loans from banks.
Very true.
And this is something that I think other communities need to learn. When each of you has 1 million separately and you go invest it separately, you're much better off putting that 1 million together, 10 of you or 100 of you, and getting into a big investment, coming BBS small, and you will get a higher return.
Yes.
Rather than you just going to try to squeeze your 1 million to do something here. If each of you, 100 people, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, it is way more powerful.
But then also, okay, let me ask: wouldn't you think that it's supposedly, or maybe because nobody's really willing to give or provide the loan? They're like, you know what? Let's get ourselves together as a collective, get this together, whatever. Then we take this and then we just manage my challenges.
So I think with the Somalis, it's not about not having availability of loan facility, because they can access the loans if they want to. So the reason why they pull their money is because they're avoiding interest.
They call it zakat?
Riba.
Riba.
Sorry. Riba, yes. Riba, yeah. They're avoiding
Riba.
interest, yes. Yeah, because with interest, wajua kwa Islamu interest ni kama nguruwe. It's in the same category. There's a lot of oppression associated with interest, and I know unless you've been schooled in the culture, like I've tried to explain it to you before, you will not understand, like the oppression that comes with interest. And within the Muslim community, at least in Kenya, the Somalis are the ones who've tried to stay faithful to staying away from riba, and experience has shown they're the ones who are more successful in business than those other ones who are saying, pana mi wacha tu,
like Faramalim.
Wacha tu mi ndaenda kuchukua interest.
Faramalim.
Faramalim.
Never mind, carry on.
Yeah. Okay. So I, I'm now seeing it, I'm seeing it at a live level, because there's always that temptation to get that loan that has interest. But I've come to learn that pulling your money will take you further.
But is there
trying? Yeah.
is there a compromise? Because you're talking about, like, many in developments like that.
Yeah.
Kuna mahali Waislamu wametengewa kakitu kakwenda to go do to pray.
Yeah.
Did you find that at the place? I know you mentioned it, but
No. At the BBS Mall.
yes,
They have a fully fledged mosque. It's not a
it's not a
place.
Rika's place. It is.
No.
It's a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. Mbaka, I was wondering, like,
Allah.
yes, it's a full mosque. I think it has a capacity. I mean, I don't know how to estimate, but that place can easily
No,
fit.
as long as it's there.
It can
there.
easily fit 1,000 people or
As
more.
long as it's there, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that they always do. And of course, that's a flaw where they could have easily have put businesses
True that.
and made rent out of it. But I've noticed Somalis are very faithful to that. Even when they build these apartment blocks, they will, they will always have like a small mosque for the people who are living in that.
Oh, nice.
Yes, they will always do that. Now, the other interesting thing that I learned that they're
Na hii
doing.
yote inafanywa kimya.
No, kimya.
No, because like, had you not told us,
Yeah.
we would not have known.
No, ikitu haitaki kelele. You see, when they come to build, let's say, for example, they want 100 by 100 plot, and they want to build an apartment that's 100 units. And maybe it's a prime piece of land. What they're doing, they're now getting into contracts with the people who own the land. When Awambia want to build 100 units here, instead of exchanging money, when we build this 100 units, we're going to give you 20 units. We utakata.
Hell no.
So there's some cases where they're giving maybe 10, 15, 20, depending on the cost of the land. So nakwambia takupatia 20 units. And then if you're interested, they can sell them for you when they start selling the units and give you the money. Or if you want to rent them out, you can rent them out. So you're given that benefit. You're given that option.
That one, I would have to sit down and think about it.
Yes,
When I
absolutely.
say that,
Think
because
about
I'm
it,
like, you know what? At the end of the month, kama wanapata hii.
Yeah.
Kaende.
Yeah. So you see what the Somalis, have shown Kenyans, and especially those of us within the Muslim community, is that idea pulling, because that's what, within the Muslim community, tunaambiwa to see, we are told, because borrowing is an act of charity. Like when you lend someone money, it's an act of charity. So you're not allowed to profit from an act of charity. So like, kama mtu anataka pesa to start a business, you're told to go into a partnership with them. Let's say we uko na idea, na mimi ndo niko na pesa. We go into a partnership na tunakubaliana how we're gonna split the profits. And that has really worked so well for them, that now a lot of people in Kenya are getting jittery. Ati hawa Somali. A lot of people are getting jittery. In reality, even when you hear people, talking, like in private circles, you'll hear them say hawa Somali. But what they've done is they've done that thing of pulling their money from when the Kenyan Somalis and the ones, of course, who came from outside Kenya, from when they started it in the 90s, and hii kitu imekuwa tu ikigrow, because once I do a partnership with you, where tulianza, we had a partnership and we pulled 100k, and then the idea worked. Guess what? It becomes easy for us now to do a deal for $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening, and that's how these guys are making so much money, and people are getting jittery.
Now, I have to ask this.
Yes,
I know this is a random Friday.
Yeah,
we are looking at your trip, and by the way, we are going to dissect this at some point.
Yeah,
but anajua vitu kwa ground ni different.
Yeah.
how are Somali investments, or how are those investments, how are they being impacted by Kasongo ye Mobani Nangai Ruto?
How
Are they being
apples to apples?
impacted like in let's say, for example, you went to that mall.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, every other question that I ask for somebody who's coming from Kenya, who is visiting from Kenya,
Yeah.
amerudi, I'm like, na vitu kwa ground viko aje? Kasongo na watu, because there's some places that you're told. So like I was talking to Baba Hanya, he was like, people do not want even to hear that name.
Yeah. So with the Somalis,
And I know it's we are all over the place, but it
Yeah.
just
no. With the Somalis, they've hedged their bets when it comes to politics. They always make sure that they're on both sides,
Yes.
so that whichever side wins, wao weko huko ndani.
So it's 50-50.
It's not necessarily 50-50. I think right now,
It's like
especially
30 and
especially the business class, I feel like the Somalis and them, they're not very loud, like,
no, they're not loud.
they're not very loud, but I think like they feel like they've seen a lot of benefits within the Ruto government, and you can see there was also a lot of appointments they've got, like not only within the cabinet but in parastatals and in a lot of other very senior positions in the security services and many other places, which I think is also getting
Would that
people
work
a bit jittery.
Would that work against them, or would that be negative for them, like the Somali community,
So
in terms of business investment, and how it's like poisoning the chalice
yeah.
being associated to this guy?
Yeah, so I think for a long time that has been they've been a marginalized community for a very, very long time.
Yes, true.
So
Very true.
they started finding their way. And I think apart from a few loudmouth politicians like Akina, I don't know what's happening to Farah Maalim, because he's just been sinking and sinking. But I have a theory. I could be wrong. And my theory is that there's either something he wants from Ruto, or maybe there's something that Ruto has on him. So now he has to sing his songs in a very loud way, because this is very Farah Maalim like. Like, this is a guy who's been in politics since 1992, the Young Turks. He was always a very clean politician.
Even the way he's talking,
Yes.
I am shocked.
in the past year-
I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard him curse like the way he did.
No, he's always a sober mind. He's
And
always a
I'm
sober
like-
mind. Yeah. So there's really something that that we don't know, but at some point we'll come to understand. But as far as the overall community is concerned, you very rarely even see them sitting and discussing politics.
No,
I
you
mean,
don't.
They're very
No,
careful,
you don't.
like in public.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, what they're about biashara. That's why I feel like, and of course, the businesses that they're doing, they're charging very low prices for their goods. So I think it will be very difficult to replace them, even if, let's say, another government would come, because Isli has always been there. With the regimes changing, Isli has always been
Ajabanduka it's
been
right
a
there.
constant, yeah.
Yeah.
And Isli utenda uta exchange dollars. You're gonna go there. You're gonna buy gold. Yes,
Yes.
You'll get almost anything that you want. That
And-
area is like an economy on its own.
And you remember how what's her name? I can't remember. You remember that place we went to eat in Boston, where we were taken? anyway, I'll say the red Benz. How she was talking to us and telling how she told us how like
What's it called? The restaurant. It had a funny
something like name.
Interesting.
How
name, yeah.
how whoever she was dealing with
Yeah.
never could not gonga her. Even the markup.
Trust.
It's
Yeah.
a trust. No, but it's also the markup.
Yeah,
How-
the one who changed her money.
Yes.
the Somali.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Somali.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Who ended up giving her money?
yeah, and she's like,
Alone.
no, don't worry. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
ended up giving her a loan
yeah.
because
Yeah.
she couldn't. There was something.
It's
yes, I
and
remember.
I'm like, I love this because
Because
this.
they deal with you.
Not even that.
It's a relationship.
In addition to that, but it's also who they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's who they are.
It's who they are. It's
They're
not
not,
like-
they're not about profit.
exactly.
it's not
And I'm
about
like,
profit.
what?
So
Because if
profit,
it was
they
like
will
Kikuyu,
they will make their small margin, and
Yes.
they will bank on volume.
yes,
They will bank on volume.
yes,
Yeah.
But that in itself, I'm like, because if it was a Kikuyu, if it was someone like say like no, I'm just mentioning, and it was in Jerry Tabitha. Hapo ungegongwa.
Oh,
But I'm
Jerry
like-
Tabitha, sijui kama unasikiza, umetajwa.
wacha.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing just, I'm like, why would I not want to financially work with these guys? Like, why not?
No, there's something to learn from
and
them.
it is amazing because I'm like, staki kugongo, but at the same time, if they're gonna chapa me for like 1%, please,
Yeah,
or
there's-
2%, please.
Yes, there's something to learn from them.
No, absolutely, man.
Like sometimes they will even take your money without counting, especially if it's a big amount. They'll just trust you give them the right amount. They, like it's a system that it's an honor system, and it has worked really well for them. Sometimes it's surprising that I wonder, like if the country Somalia was stable and they were just able to build their country, I would have loved to see how that would turn out, because these people have been able to work wonders in other places. Now ukienda places kama Kajiado, like places where you don't expect to see them, like even in Murang'a County, I had a chance to make rounds. Yeah.
Those ones.
Yes.
As we go throughout the year, you're gonna tell us.
Yes.
But yeah. Ulikuwa huko.
Yeah.
Ulikuwa
Niliingia-
mountain deep.
Yes, niliingia mountain. Niliingia mountain. Very.
We mweka there. Dejaga.
Mono.
Aterere.
Kabisa. That one right there. Yeah. So,
Digilio nawe.
Yeah.
Yokira.
yeah. And then uliona duka ya Raidhi.
Ate.
Me mountain people, seriously. Like
Let me tell you.
unashirabu mpaka kwa kuandika. I can
Excuse me.
understand kwa pronunciation. Duka ya Raidhi.
No.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
being an outsider,
Yes.
not speaking Kikuyu,
Yes.
you don't get it.
No, but
It's okay. No, you don't.
what was the goal? What were they meant? What did they mean to write?
No. Duka ya Raidhi.
Duka ya Raidhi.
No. You see, you're not Kikuyu, you don't get it.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
when I see it, duka ya Raidhi. Ini duka ya chip.
Yeah. Cheap goods.
Yeah, but for
It's
me,
crazy.
as a Kikuyu, no,
Yeah.
but you see, please, when you get with the program, but you don't get it. Like, duka ya Raidhi.
Yeah.
Duka ya Raidhi.
Yeah.
Ini duka ya.
Okay.
Cheap.
But
Yeah.
one
But-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Carry
thing I must say,
Mm.
especially in Murang'a County, the local politicians, I don't know if it's a governor, the MP or the MCAs,
Or both, all of them.
they've done a good job. They've done a good job, especially when it comes to roads. From the last time I was there and this time, it was, it was mind-blowing.
But they're quiet when it comes to Ruto. But carry on.
Yes. And I think that's a good thing. That's a smart thing that they're doing.
Nyamaze.
That's a smart thing that they're doing, because it was really mind-blowing, like from the time I think I was there maybe like 6-7 years ago the last time, and the place looks very, very different. It looks very, very different.
Did you see the video of the guy who I think is a comedian?
That's Professor, yeah.
But
the guy
he
went
was
to a school.
Yeah. And he was showing the difference
And
between
comparing
Hugo
it
Baringo
with one in Bomet, I think.
Bomet
Yeah.
versus okay.
Yes, so that's the other thing, that everybody you're talking to, they're like, like the schools peer, they've really funded them well. So I think the community has put a lot of pressure on them. So it's one of those places where you have to work, because I think the previous governor people were complaining about him.
Oh, idea.
Yeah,
Bure
Wairia.
kabisa.
Yeah, so
Kangata,
now,
has,
yeah.
well, Kangata has been very quiet.
He's been very quiet.
silent.
Yeah,
Even Dinyoro at some point.
he went quiet.
Amefanya
He used to
nini?
be noisy. Yeah, but after I called him Nyororo, he went silent.
Umesema alikuwa Nyororo
Eh? He went
Akati.
silent. Yeah. After the Gen Z, you know, like he went quiet.
during the Gen Z whatever. Yeah.
He went quiet, which I think has worked well for his people.
Yeah, Machungwa is the one was
Yeah,
continuing
Machungu is the
yapping.
one who's continuing to make noise. But yeah, but I can tell you, and I also got to travel all the way to Isiolo because
Yeah.
I have family all the way to Isiolo, in Isiolo.
Gathe, kwani unaweza kusema yani
Nimetembea.
ati
Nimetembea.
DNA all the way.
Nimetembea sana.
Eh.
But now, you know, like it's very interesting when you start seeing, especially when you're driving through those there's Izoma flower farms.
So tell us
Yeah.
your route. How you ulitoka Nairobi.
so
Ukaenda.
actually I spent very few days in Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
So Nairobi, nilitoka Nairobi, of course, nikaenda Mombasa, spent some time in Mombasa,
Yeah.
and then went to Malindi, where I spent most of the time. You know,
And how the two of you never met, but it's okay. Uh-huh.
I know. And,
Huyo
and-
Moshfire,
and he's busy here, you know, like I
He's
don't
on
know,
his phone. He's not
business,
doing
yeah.
anything.
Yeah, he's doing
In
business.
fact, let
I
me
don't
put him
know.
on. Let me put him on.
He-
the,
he's-
on the-
he's-
You
he's sending
can add
emails.
me kwani konini.
He's sending emails while on the show. I went to.
Thank you for
know,
saving him.
Yes.
Instead of sending texts.
Yes, I went to Malindi. One of the, and I think this is a point where I'm just gonna say it. One of the projects that I've been slowly investing in is a school in Malindi. So anyone who has family or
Ali,
yeah.
it's okay for you to invest in that school. What's your ROI?
No, so school is different.
No, sinauliza tu kwa sababu unajua kuna vitu zingine aliwaga na kujaga nazo. He throws
School,
punches.
yeah.
So I'm just asking for the people who are asking.
So I agree, and that's
They
a
might
very
want to
good
be an
question.
investor. Uh-huh.
And to me, this is a very risky. A school is a very risky
Nauliza
investment.
tu.
No, Nisawa school is one of those very risky investments, and it's one of those
Please
investments.
explain the story behind it. Because
Yeah.
I think maybe it may make sense.
Your story. I'll
Ama,
come to
you're
it
not
later.
ready?
No, I'm not ready right
Okay,
now, but I'll
sawa,
come to
sawa,
it later.
sawa, okay.
But a school is a very risky investment because it can either turn well, and you will quadruple, you will 10x your money, or it can go south, and you will lose everything.
So do you consider it an investment or more of a community service?
So I look at it. I'm looking at it in both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in both ways. So this is one of those emotional investments. But with schools, if it goes right, and with a school, you do not expect to return your money within the first year or even within the third year. It could take sometimes up to 5 years or even more.
I think up to year 5.
Yeah, or even more.
And it all depends on a lot of things.
Yeah, but once you go beyond that break-even point, it's you know, like it's nothing but all the way up, because with a school you can expand it, you can increase the number of classes, you can add services. There's so many other things you can do to expand your revenue.
Hata unaweza rent hapo kanisa.
Yeah, so I don't know about renting
No,
kanisa.
I'm just saying, but people
do that.
There's all sorts of different things.
And people even
the
rent.
structures that
Yeah.
are there. You rent those things, so when school is out, it's still bringing money.
Yes, and people even rent halls as
Correct.
weddings and
Everything,
community events.
Yote.
So there's all kinds
the
of
grounds.
there's all
sorts
kinds of things
yeah.
that you can do. So yeah, so e-school investment. Now you ask me 3-4 years down the line, I will give you the experience. It's not an easy investment. It's very time consuming. It's very mentally taxing, and it's also financially very, very draining.
What about the paperwork?
The paper, oh my goodness, working with getting approvals from the Ministry of Education and from other government bodies, it's not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart. And the problem is that we have a system that's not quite clean. We have a government that's not quite clean. So with
Excuse
every
me. Hold
avenue,
on. Don't say quite.
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, no. But what I'm saying
just
is that
not.
we have people who are looking for every
Unataka chome,
avenue.
hazi choma
Yeah.
sahi.
We have people who are looking for every avenue to squeeze out a bribe.
Yeah.
Every small avenue to squeeze out a bribe. So that's something that you have to navigate, and to not to navigate that, you have to be on the ground. I'm glad, like I wasn't the one doing that work.
Wewe huwezi toa bribe, you don't know how to remove a bribe.
Yeah, but now
Ulipata ile
Unajua Ali ni-
ulipata Ali
Unajua
alipata
Ali ni
ID yake.
C-type. No, Ali ni C-type.
Alipata ID yake ama
Ali
bado
ni C-type.
anangojea.
ID or not.
no, idea eventually got it.
After 4
again,
years.
Idea
Again,
event-
after 4 years.
I eventually got it. They
Again.
got tired of me.
Ali
Yeah.
ni C-type.
But working on the ground in Kenya
Yeah.
is it's just very, very different.
And I think these are the conversations that we really need, especially from guys who have been there, who have been like, just so that you can paint a picture of this is not exactly what is going, but expect something. Like, okay,
Yeah.
just understand.
Yeah, you have to
Things
understand.
on the ground are
Are
very,
very
very different,
Very
from
different,
what
yeah.
the
Very
what
different.
the paper says. Like
Yes.
the paper will tell you that you need this,
Yeah.
this, that.
Yeah.
Throw all that out the door. What you meet
Because when
at
you go-
Ministry of
yeah.
Education is what you will deal with.
Because
Period.
when you go to that place, they'll ask you, fanya hivi, and you need this copy, make that copy go to that copy and make over there in that office over there.
Yeah,
And
but
guess what? That copy,
but the requirements say sijui nini sasa Ali. But the requirements say
Yeah.
hiyo ni C-type.
wewe
Unataka hii kitu ama utaki?
unataka ama utaki.
By the way, on the ground, your tactic ya kusema the requirement says it's just not gonna work. It's just not. That's why I'm thankful.
That's ulijitoa na ulikuwa
I wasn't the one.
ulikuwa unafanya job na watu ambayo washafanya hii, they've walked this journey before.
So now I have there's an aunt of mine who's there on the ground. There's an uncle of mine who's there on the ground.
Big
so,
shout out to auntie and uncle.
So they're the ones who are doing most of this work, because I, like Ikitu, like especially, and that's why I say if you're from the diaspora and you're looking to run a business, an institution, organization in Kenya, you just must understand how the ground works.
And by the way,
we can fix everything step by step, but you have to understand how the ground works currently.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So, to support your point,
Yeah.
there was something that my brother was doing, and we were trying to talk to a few, like my sis, like yo, you need this, that, the other, and my brother is talking because he and your ground.
Yeah.
There's nobody else there. I'm not
Yeah.
there. She's not there. Then she's like, me, I don't get this. I'm like, please, my dear, listen to what that guy is saying, because that guy knows what he's dealing with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kuna vile ana handle hii vitu.
Yeah.
Not unless you want to go there and manage these challenges. And by the way, when you're going there, please,
Ujipange.
usilete kiherehere ya sijui nini.
Yeah.
That guy's been there
Hiyo,
for...
kere ya onge mizongo
Yeah,
na
he's
work
been
there.
there forever. Yeah, he's not gonna
He wouldn't
happen.
work there.
And that is sometimes the something that somebody has to understand. Like,
It's a nuance that you have to understand.
You have to be big enough. Like, vitu za state ni state.
Yeah.
Kenya is Kenya.
Kenya is Kenya, yeah.
Period.
You have to understand.
And
Differentiate that
And
shit.
the processes and how they work and
They are
how they are
different.
laid out to work
Yeah.
is
Different.
a different animal. I had issues. You guys had me mention stories of land, sijui
Yes.
nini, surveyor, blah, 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 title, nini. So, udongo imenunuliwa, a title has been issued,
Yes.
but the information that has been put on the title there's some missing information from the title, which means that this piece of land is not searchable. So when you go to do a land search for
It's
this
not there.
particular, it comes up, but haikuji na ile jina iko kwa title, which means the green card has not been correctly updated, and the only person who can do the updating and sign off is the registrar, who, by the way, is on leave. Now, the assistant registrar, Hayuko, because then you would say that this is the backup.
Yeah.
Assistant registrar, Hayuko, in fact, there's none. And some of these things are done maksudi so that you only deal with one person, by the way.
Single point of failure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which means
Wow.
hii ndio mfuko inapata nini?
Yep.
Inapata kitu.
Yes.
So kama hayuko, huwezi deal na mtu yoyote.
Yeah.
There's no backup.
Mm.
Na vitu amesema ndio vitu zinafanyika.
Zinafanyika.
Na ye peke yake kwa entire county ndiye anaweza piga hii sahihi.
Eish.
Juu registrar ni one. So hapa itabidi utii, upende usipende, ukuje na kiherehere yako ya diaspora na uweke kifua.
And that
useme,
is a problem.
Good luck.
Utajua ujui.
Good
Yeah.
luck. And the mistake that was made, by the way, was theirs. They are the ones who did not fill in the information correctly on the title. So the title has what they call I think they have a parcel number. And then there's a parcel number, then I think it's like a plot number. And the ones in Nairobi, they are called sectional titles, which have like LRXXX, blah, blah, blah. Lakini zile za mashinani, hawatumii hizo LR. Au tumia, let's say if it's Kwale, it will be Kwale 4492.
Yeah.
And then when Kwale 4492, there's a parcel number 4. So parcel number 4 is where you'll find this 4492. Now, if 4492 gets subdivided, then 4492 can become a 4580 sitting on parcel number 6.
Yeah.
So ile map unaenda kuangalia ugani map ya parcel number 6 in Kwale, and there is where you'll see the actual divisions in there.
Yeah.
33 whatever, 44 whatever, and they'll tell you it was originally divided from 4492. So the systems are like, you're like,
Yeah.
Azingi. Now if you miss kuweka hiyo parcel number, guess what? That title means nothing. And in order for you to certify that this title is good, now umelipa wamekupea, you have to go do a search. What the search brings is what the green card, aka master record, has. Now, if this master record has not been updated correctly to reflect the new ownership, guess what? This number that you have means nothing, and you have a dead title.
Wow.
Aka hauna kitu.
Yeah, so
Na
that's why.
umechota.
Yeah, and that's why some people have titles, but those titles are just a piece of paper. And that's it.
And it is nasty. And
Yeah.
the guy who you have to deal with ni nani? Registrar.
Yeah.
Juu ye ndio wagana block. What do they call that thing when you cannot make
Any transaction.
any transactions on the? It's not a caveat. Is it a caveat? I think it's a caveat or
I
something.
don't remember
I
what
think
it's
yeah, it's a
called.
caveat. That's what they
Yeah.
work out on the green card, so that in case there is ever, let's say it's ancestral land, and you don't want Uncle Mkubwa aanze kufanya nini?
Yeah.
Kuuza. Anytime when there's any transaction or somebody who's trying to do something, you get dinged. The registrar gets dinged, and of course ushamchotea.
Yeah.
Anakwambia, by the way, kuna mtu anajaribu kufanya hivi, and then of course there's not that's red flag for you right there. Say, hey, hapa kuna nini? Na unaweza enda uweke hiyo stop. You can weka, I think it's called a stop. But anyway, you can block any transactions from occurring on your piece of land, especially kama hizo ancestral blah blah blah, even if it's nai. Those are the things that you want to block, so that anytime when there's any movement on that particular piece of property, you will be alerted.
Aha.
Na hizo ndio vitu wakaenda back to the green card and to
Yeah.
the registrar, because the registrar is the one who is the final sayer on this master file and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. Kuna
Land,
it's just,
land
it's
is
a
just complicated.
nasty business, but we all have to go through it, especially if you are a property owner,
Yes.
or potentially you are the one who may even be holding the bag for your family. You could be at this point where when umeambiwa, okay, mzee ameaga, maybe big bro ameaga, na ni wewe ndio sasa umebaki unakalia hizi vitu, you're holding on to them, and mom is there, but she's there because she's like, okay, me, I'm here as a caretaker, but wewe ndio mwenye boma.
Yeah.
Which means you need to know every single thing that is happening in here.
Yes.
And if I'm not here, I expect for you to be able to sort all of these things out with your relatives, your uncles, your aunties, your whatever. Wale wako kwa boma. It becomes, that's all I'm saying.
Wacha hapa nisome some comments coming
Yes.
from Nancy Mwirotsi. Nancy anasema, on the Somali, it's about haram. Research Minnesota Somali Mall and even mortgage support for community. Nancy anasema I work with Somalis and love it. And hapa Gerald Oliech anasema happy new year, karibu sana Gerald. And then Nancy anasema Somalis would be ahead of Kenya and Niger. I think that was based on us asking if the country was peaceful, where would it be? And then Stephen Jeje anasema they do it on purpose, Omosh. I think hiyo niyo issue ya land. Now another issue hapa Omosh is you are able to travel. So I went to Mombasa.
Correct.
And I went to Malindi, but I did not go to South Coast.
Yes.
But you went to South Coast.
Correct.
Tell us your experience of going to South Coast and what's new about going to South Coast, because mi najua kawaida ulikuwa unakuja unaenda pale kwa feri unangoja, ilikuwa ni feri unavukishwa, and then when you vuka the other side, then you get, if you're in a vehicle, you continue the journey, or you get matatu or tuk-tuk or whatever and continue the journey.
Ukunda or whatever.
Yes, but what's the new, with these new roads that have been built, what's the new system of getting to South Coast?
So, by the way, I had not been to the coastal region since 2009.
Wow, okay.
So, and it was on purpose, because for me, every time when I went home, I went to the village, and mimi si mtu wa maji ya chumvi.
Yeah.
So
when into Maji Fresh.
I miss it, but I don't miss it.
Yeah.
So I once I went to the village, I was like, okay, I've got my water fill in. I don't need to go to coast, especially because of the time of the year when I go, and when I could fit it in, it's always going to be expensive. And I used to go stay with Relaz in Nyali. My Relaz moved, so I'm like, why am I even bothering? That means I have to kula waya 15 to 20K a night just to say at Nimenda Coast.
Yeah.
You've lied. Let me go. Let me stay in Shags.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't have that need. But, and by the way, this was my first time going to South Coast. I'd never been to South Coast.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I had never. So for me, it was all
a new experience.
It was all a new experience.
Yeah.
I was to go with the SGR, but at that time of the year, I was going just before New Year. So I left Nairobi on the 30th.
Hey, worst time ever to try to find a ticket.
Supposedly had a hookup. Kuna, maybe I'm revealing too much, but kuna watu ambayo kama unajua system ya Jambas, unaweza ingishwa ndani. Uingie SGR, pige round trip. So normally round trip is supposed to be, I think, 3K. Is it? Or is it?
It's been a while since I
think
used
it's about
SGR.
3K. I think it's 1,500 each way or something like that. So round trip will be about 3K. Now, of course, you're going to pay ile ya kuongeza on top ndio uingishwe yuko ndani during that peak time, by the way. So the ticket was coming to like about either 5,500 or something like that for round trip. But that was guaranteed. I think that included, for me, I think it was all the way, it was SGR plus transfer to Ukunda's Diani.
Yes.
Basically. And I think that was 5,500 because I think the transfer from...
so transfer from the SGR.
Yeah, from SGR. Then, kutoka SGR, we had, I think we had a vehicle that was supposed to take us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
to,
now
to Diani.
And then
back.
Then now it goes straight from SGR straight
from
to
SGR,
Diani.
So I think it was going to take us straight to Diani and then back again. We were many people. We were about, I was going to say at least 30 people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back end story, my cousin got married in Kenya and decided, because she was marrying an American, and so she had a lot of friends who were coming from America who are Americans, and she decided that she wanted them to get the experience of the country.
Yeah.
So that way, what she did is she included that whole Diani, Swahili Beach experience for them.
Wow.
So those who had been to the country before decided, they'll do the wedding in Nairobi, but instead of coming to Diani, I would enter Zanzibar direct.
Okay.
But part of what the wedding thing was, tunaenda Diani for about 4 or 5 days, then from there tuende Mara, then kutoka Mara unarudi Nairobi.
Wow.
Na so inategemea sasa now vile mfuko yako was adjusted and so on and so forth. But I decided last minute to jump into this
the Diani trip.
The Diani trip. So turns out that the SGR hookup was not an SGR hookup.
What was it?
It was I hook up. It basically became, I had a ticket to come back. I didn't have a ticket to go.
So to go Gisot.
Yes. So I had to resort now. We had to end up getting a moti and a driver,
Okay.
which we did. And I think we were like 4 of us in the vehicle. So we shared the cost of having the drivers and then come back. And in fact, actually, we ended up keeping the driver. Instead of even coming back to Nairobi, we kept the driver.
Okay.
But, and it's a 9-hour drive from Nairobi. To
From Nairobi all the way to Diani.
all the way to Diani.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
So now it's a straight shot. Hakuna kurudi Mombasa kuingia ferry.
Hakuna kurudi because kuna barabara. I think I was messing up the name, but it was
Dongo Kundu.
Dongo Kundu.
Yeah.
Sasa now that, let me tell you, that experience for people who, even the Dere who was, the guys who was taking us, he's been there quite a bit. He makes that run quite a bit. Does, I think, also Amboseli, and also does Savo and Namara.
Yeah.
As part of, because he deals a lot with tourists. The company deals a lot with tourists. And so those are some of the runs that he does. But that experience, and at the time when we arrived, because we actually left Nairobi around 2. So we were getting those sides around 11
Yeah.
or so. So give or take, it was about 11, because we stopped on the way.
Yeah.
We took our time, so to speak. But there's a way the guy does it. So there's a place where he normally stops.
Or for food and all that.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. And these are things that you learn, that also the traders along the way, like these places where they stop, these dairies don't pay for food.
No, they don't pay for food. That's one thing that I learned. Yeah, because when you are dere, you're driving, let's say, like 10 people.
Correct.
Those are 10 customers that you brought
for them.
who you could have easily taken somewhere else. Yeah.
Yes.
So kawaida, yeah.
And by the way, I was charged for the dairy's food. Me, I didn't know this story. So me, see, I paid, because the guy said I bought it, I paid.
Yeah.
Then when I go back, the dairy's like, now as we're driving, then I'm asking the, I'm like, Kwani, what's the deal? This guy, then the guy, and not necessarily, I didn't care. I didn't mind that I paid.
Yeah.
But I think I just mentioned, the guy's like, what do you mean you paid? He's like, no.
Yeah, dairies are not supposed
he's like,
to.
I never
Yeah.
pay. He's like, those guys, you are not supposed to pay for my food. So maybe, but again, the money went into the till. So it's not like that the manager can get the money. I didn't pay cash or whatever. It went into the till. So, it is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
But his whole point of it was, just like you said, he's bringing customers.
Yeah.
So had he not stopped there, they wouldn't have had these 10 customers or 6 customers or 3 customers or whatever. They wouldn't have had all of these people who came in. I mean, even we went there, one of the people we were with was one of those last minute, didn't even know that this thing was happening, didn't even have swimming costume. So akabai kutoka hapo. So you like, those are the some of the things, and I was actually traveling with people who two other people who live in the diaspora.
Yeah.
And they are basically born here in America. Parents are Kenyan, and this was pretty much their first time heading to the coast.
To the coast. Or
Yes.
they'd never been to the coast before.
Never been to the coast.
Yeah.
So they were, we were in this moti, plus then another cousin of mine who's local, and so anyway, we were able to finagle, and we went Dogokunja.
Dongo Kundu.
Dogokundu, I think. Yeah. So it was a very
Kunja kabisa.
interesting experience, and then not having to go through Mombasa, wait for the ferry, cross over with the ferry.
That's a game changer.
And remember, it also depends on what time you fika, because if you fika at a certain point, you're not gonna cross.
Yeah, you're not gonna cross.
Itabidi-
You're gonna wait until the following morning.
Itabidi ungoje. And at the rates that we were heading, if we were to wait, there's no way we would have got that ferry that night.
Yeah.
Because of the time. Now, the drive from once you hit, I think, literally almost, I guess I'd say coast, because from that point when you're crossing over, you can actually even see the bridge, the bridge to go across. I think it's like 30 minutes and you're in Diani, literally.
That
And
is.
It was seamless. I was feeling for the dere, but I'm as aware.
I've never used your Dongo Kundu. Next time, I'll prioritize like using it, because I've never.
Very, very nice trip. We didn't, and being that it was a 30th, we didn't kula traffic, because that's another thing that I was like, hey, Maze, it's gonna be like ile ya kwenda Ocha, because
Yeah.
that was another experience for me. Ya kwenda
Yeah.
Ocha. I don't know if you guys, well, before you left, there was ile traffic ilikuwa nini Mahimahiu,
Yeah.
and
was
leading
seeing
up
it,
to
yeah.
going in. Mimi ndio nilikuwa hapo.
Oy.
I didn't ingia Mahimahiu. We had to basically bypass, but
Yeah.
cops had to literally come. We're sitting for like 3 hours. Cops had to come and start backtracking, and because now what ended up happening is, of course, as usual, people overlap.
Yeah.
So watu walikuwa wame overlap mpaka wakaingia ndani ya nini, you know, there is normally the drainage,
Yeah.
the kadich where maji is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Guys are driving in there, so the cops had to come and get backed up by military, or should I say almost like
That-
look like GSU,
Yeah.
to come and backtrack folks to get them on that Limuru road,
Yeah.
so that traffic would start moving.
That can be very, very annoying.
And it was very bad going Shags, and this was the 20th.
Yeah.
I left to go Shags on the 20th driving, and that one was a nightmare. It took so long.
But now here Diani Sasa it was
Diani
zero.
was,
Now
Diani was zero traffic.
are they,
the most was
already
Kabundo Road.
are they already charging a toll
No,
for that?
no, they're not charging yet. In fact, actually, because it's
Oh,
a dual,
that's
it's
interesting,
it's
yeah.
dual carriage.
Yeah.
Only one side is opened. The other side has not been
Or
opened.
the
yet.
other side has not
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
completed.
the other side has not been completed yet. So basically, you are both on one side, but kuna gari nakuja na kuna ile naenda. But
Yeah.
the signs are
So
on,
is
all
it
on one side.
expressway like how does
Yeah,
it?
it's expressway. Like.
I hope they do that all the way from Nairobi.
It's expressway like. I didn't notice anywhere. You know, normally you'd see like maybe they're building like for tolls or whatever. I didn't see anything
Yeah.
like for tolls over there. And I don't know if that is the plan for them to do tolls. I don't think so.
I don't know either.
I don't think that's
I don't
gonna
know
be the
either,
plan.
but yeah. But
Unless
that's
they'll say that if now you want to do that between coast and between Mombasa
Between
town
Nairobi
and
yeah.
Nini, just that strip between Mombasa town and to get to South Coast,
to
then
get
you
to
pay.
South Coast, yeah.
So that you can use the road as opposed to going on the ferry, since
Yeah.
they're saying they're losing money, quote unquote, on the ferry. But I think when you look at the totality of what these guys are gaining,
Yeah, it's way more than anything
yeah.
that they're losing on that.
because the
ferry.
locals are not using the road.
No, they're not.
I mean, because them, they are what were
the locals are still, if you're already in Mombasa
bridge.
town, yeah, you have to use the ferry or that Liwatoni bridge, which
Yes.
actually is a very long stretch to walk.
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly, like what the point was, but yeah, you'll either use the ferry
Point was
or
for you to save money.
or-
So
or
now
the
you
bridge,
figure
yeah.
out whether you want to pick a Wende Nanduthi or whatever. But I think that was what the whole point was.
Oh well, yeah, but yeah. So much happening. I think this year there'll be so much to talk about. This was just an introductory show to Meanzanza. Before we go, the one other thing that I'd like to talk about is the last thing we want to talk about, because leo tutamaliza mapema, is M-Pesa. For some reason, this thing still fascinates me until today. Think about
the
it right now.
efficiency, is that
The
what?
efficiency, yeah. The efficiency and the flexibility.
Correct.
Think about it. If right now, like if I owe you $100, unless I have cash, tutaanza kusumbuana. Cash up, maybe utaki pesa kwa hii account na itaka kwa hii account.
PayPal or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it will be, it's not gonna be a seamless process. And now with M-Pesa, like they've now advanced it, wako na sasa hiyo M-Shwari. They have so many other features, and then there's this new thing called ZD, which is a money market fund.
MZD, whatever.
Yeah. It's a money market fund. So now I think M-Pesa is trying to disrupt investment banking. I don't know whether because they already disrupted regular banking, but now they're going to disrupt investment banking. Wanaanza na money market funds. Yeah, and of course money market ni interest, but
Sahi
they have a lot of
hiyo
people
money
who signed
market
up.
inaleta problems. Umeona kuna issues in Kenya with money market. What's this big firm?
Genghis Capital.
Yes.
Yeah. Genghis Capital has been having some problems.
Now they're done, man. Those jamas.
But the good thing,
receivers.
the way money markets are covered, or those assets under management, they're usually divorced from a company's operational expenses. They're not supposed to be together
On the books.
So they're kept by a custodian. So in case the money needs to go back to the customers, it will be taken back to the customers. Because now in the capital markets authority inaangalia hiyo hapo, but now with what Safaricom is doing. And then the other interesting thing is that it's also seamless how you transfer money from a bank account to M-Pesa.
I don't have a bank account in Kenya. I closed my bank account 2 years ago. Just because there was so much stuff that was going on with that account, which I'd had for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And something I never realized was that I could not do online banking with that account because it was a savings account.
Yeah.
Because initially I used to have a dollar account. I closed the dollar account, and the dollar account was considered the current. Then I had a savings account, and so the savings account is what I basically was operating. But apparently they didn't allow you, and I don't know if it's just the one that I had. They didn't allow for the savings account to have online banking.
Oh wow!
So
okay. That I don't understand.
Even me, I didn't get it, and maybe it's the product that I opened 10 years back because I closed it in 23. So when I went back and I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with this account, blah, blah, blah. Then they're like, oh, by the way, this account of yours does not have online banking. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't have online banking? Then I'm like, no wonder this thing never, ever worked. And I really didn't care because if I wanted money put in, then I just tell somebody to, to deposit money so that it doesn't go into dormant, a dormant state.
Yeah,
right?
By the way, accounts go into dormant state very quick in Kenya. Sometimes it's only maybe 3 months.
It depends on the manager. The manager has that call of whether to work your account into a dormant state or not.
Yeah.
And maybe they look and review at what your history is of how you're putting money in and taking it out and stuff like that. And I had an ATM card which worked when I went to take money out. But funnily enough, the ATM card, that strip in the back, that thing faded. So I'm like, surely, hii kitu gani? So I went back to the bank. I'm like, I can't pull money out, nini. Then I'm being told, oh, first of all, that card should not ever work on an ATM. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't work in an ATM? It's been working. I've been removing money with this card for years. Then I'm being told, apana. Then I'm like, okay. So then I start asking questions, and the answers are not good.
Yeah.
I told them toa pesa zangu.
Yeah, banking is another
I
thing
was like,
that
remove my money. I don't want. So for me, I at this point, just like Ali always says, if it was a return on investment, why do I have dead capital sitting huko? I'd rather the money, because I live in dollars, I don't live in shillings. So let my money sit over here. If I am ever at the point where I need to have that account, I'll use it. But if I, worst case scenario, need to have money somewhere parked in Kenya, I have my M-Pesa. It works. So I can park money in there, because you can keep up to what,
up to 500,000. Now it's up to 500. Yes,
because I think 2 years ago it was 350 or something.
Yeah.
So
144.
No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. 23 was 3 something.
Yeah. The
Before that was like 144.
It used to be a very small amount.
Yes.
144.
But that also shows you that what they've done internally is that the security things that they have.
But somebody brought up the issue of money laundering, because if you've got 3 different phones, you can actually move 1.5, 2 million very easy.
And that's but that
M-Pesa, but
again, you can,
right.
yes. But who's checking your Indie? Because you remember they're dealing with one. Right?
Yeah, but M-Pesa, the way it's governed, I think it's considered kind of like cash. Because M-Pesa, the way it's governed, the money has to actually be there in a trust. Si kama pesa ya bank. M-Shwari is governed like a bank account. That one is different. But yeah, I think even when people come from other countries and see the efficiency of M-Pesa,
that thing works like a champion.
It's quite unbelievable. And you can use
like
it
a champion.
mashinani, you can use it anywhere. You can use it to pay for
I just wish Airtel Money would have
taken off.
The same. No, flashed the same. If not equal, but somewhere.
I have never used Airtel Money.
Yeah, it's all about the infrastructure and how those, right?
Right.
I think for me next time I'm gonna try and get an Airtel Money line.
Yeah.
Just see how it works.
Yeah, just see how it works. But people are so embedded to Safaricom.
But it's because you are programmed that way.
We are programmed that way.
That's it.
But it's
at the same time
popular.
At the same time, it's not only popular, but it's also very efficient. I haven't used Airtel Money.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not efficient.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But I think I'd be curious Airtel Money at a function yake. How it would be.
And you know that the funny thing about it is that you can use Safcom to send money to Airtel. So basically, in a way, it's like they're pushing Airtel out
And do any of these money apps that we use,
now.
do they send to Airtel?
Not
What
that
do you
I-
mean
not-
money apps?
Not that I
like,
know of.
Like Cash App?
No, our money apps here, the ones that we use to
To
send.
send
Oh,
to
Sendwave. I don't know.
We're not naming names of people who are not paying us.
Where?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
money apps.
And
Yeah.
and in fact, that's my gripe. So I lost money. And the way I lost money was that I sent money to the wrong number. And I'll explain how I sent money to the wrong number.
Yeah.
I was sending money to myself.
Is that the way this girl's causing over there in our chat?
No.
No,
That's-
that was a
that-
different
that was
situation.
a different situation.
His money had not reached.
That was a different situation. So at one point, I've had my Kenyan number for I think maybe
700
7
years. Yes.
It's been a while since I've had that number. But at some point, I lost the
Nile
number.
ulikuwa na iPhone 4S.
Yes. At one point, I lost the number. But then what happens is that even though you've lost your number, it goes into a pool.
Yes.
And so
they keep it.
they keep it in there then until at some point that number gets recycled and given to somebody else. So I got to Kenya in time to catch it, where my number was gone, but it was still in the pool, and they agreed to give it back to me. So they gave me a temporary number while they were still bringing that number out of its hole.
Amen.
So punde si punde, after about a week, my new number goes away, but I still have it programmed in Sendwave. Then I went and this is years later. So I wasn't looking at the numbers. Like I just looked at the first 4 numbers and they were correct.
And you sent it to yourself.
And I sent it to myself because it was me.
But the myself is a new
Yes,
self.
and I kept wondering how come this myself is not getting this money, and I sent myself $100. So that was about
that was a Christmas.
Ulibariki.
Ulibariki mtu.
Mazeni Limbariki to death.
Yeah.
It was close to 13K. It was like
Did
12.
you ever recover it?
It was 12. No, I never recovered it, and I'll explain why you can't recover it. Because remember, if it's Safcom to from Safcom to Safcom you can reverse
You
it.
can reverse it, yeah.
But now it's come from outside. So the person who has to do the reversal has to be
Is the
Sendwave.
sending up.
Sendwave has to then now start the reversal process. And the money needs to be sitting in the wallet, in the mobile wallet. But of course, when you send this money to somebody who is playing dirty, they've already gotten the money. They've taken the money, moved it to
withdrawal.
another person, and then that person moved it to Mshwari.
Yeah, by the way, they even withdraw.
Yes,
Unaenda kwa nini
that's
una
what they
withdraw.
did. Yeah, they moved the money and then it moved it to Mshwari. Long story short, I went, vile unasakanya watu napata mse wa DCI sijui ni nini mpaka you even given mpaka the person's location pali yuko alikuwa Zimmerman sijui nini. I look at this and I'm like, okay, now this is
It's not worth it.
It's 13K.
Yeah.
So
it's not worth
I'm
it.
even thinking this DCI guy. I was like, okay, so let's do this. Me, I'll conjure you something. So at least maybe I conjure them 5, I get 7. It's not a bad deal for me. Yeah, I'm like, at least I'm getting something back. But at some point, this person who was helping me just went silent on the lambs. Nikasema, son of a twangast. Maybe yendi alienda kapata hizo dozote. Sijui. Na kanyamaza.
Yeah.
Even me, I was like, imeenda. But all this to say, if you're sending money with these apps that are outside Safaricom's network, once the money is gone, it is indeed gone.
Kiendacho
So
kwa mganga kirudi.
make sure. In fact, even you're better off maybe send $1 first, then it goes, it in gears, then you know that you're sending to the right place.
Yes.
I mean, it only costs you another minute, but it's well worth it. Because had I done something like that, I would have caught this mistake. And it took me a while to catch this because I sent the money and I'm like, something's wrong with Safcom's network.
Now imagine if you
this
send,
money is
if
not
you
coming.
send 500K.
Boss, there's times that I even send myself $300 or $400.
Oh, sorry, $500.
Yeah, there's times when I send myself $300 or $400, even $500. So now I'm very cautious about it, that I'll even send $1 fast. Even if it's a cash app that I've used, I'm like, no, I'm sending $1 fast. When you tell me umepata ndio sasa natuma zile zingine, because last hivyo it's me who's gonna be out.
Yeah, you know, Safaricom itself, I think they've added a layer. I don't know how long that layer has been there, where like you have to confirm before, if you're sending Safaricom to Safaricom M-Pesa.
Correct.
There's a layer of where like it asks you to confirm.
They ask you, are you sure? Then you say yes.
Are you sure you're sending this
Yeah.
to
so and so?
Omosh Fund?
Yes, and it will tell you the person's
It will tell you
registered
the
name and
person's
all
name.
of that, right?
So it's good to look. If it looks like a different name, then you
Or
cancel.
if it's not, sometimes, let's say if you're using the app, the
Yeah.
Safaricom app,
Yeah.
get out of the app, go back in the app, and then it will sometimes reset itself.
Yeah.
And then it will pick up the name of the person, because sometimes it comes up with a blank, like the number's there, but it doesn't have a name attached to it.
Okay.
And that for me is always a red flag.
Yeah.
I'll always, refresh and then go back inside,
Yeah.
because I use the Safaricom app. And the Safaricom app actually works. It really, really works.
It works.
Well.
It works.
But when it doesn't work, hapo ndio pale uko na problem. So they have that the old style, where that
The
ka
old
black and
school,
white.
yeah.
But that black and white, because I have an eSIM, that one doesn't work anymore. Where
Which one? The old one?
the old one doesn't work for me anymore,
Oh, wow.
because I have an eSIM on that phone.
Okay.
If it was a physical SIM card, then that would work, because it's actually, that is driven by the SIM card.
It's driven by the SIM card,
That
yeah.
old
The old
app,
system,
yes,
yeah.
it's driven by the
And which I
physical
like. It's a
it's
very
driven-
simple interface and straightforward.
Yes, and
Anyone
it never
can
fails.
get it,
By
yeah.
the way, it never fails. So that's something for folks out there who are thinking of how you're doing things back and forth when you go to Kenya and Nini, and then the Daima service, the one of making sure that you pay. I think it's like $2,000 for
Me, that
2 years or
one,
3 years.
that one.
Yeah.
Although I've lost my number a couple of times, Safaricom, I was like, you pay. I think it's 1,000 a year. So I was like, you pay
yeah.
1,000 a year. See you up or see.
But,
see I
but,
would
the money
rather-
but the money comes to you. It's not like
but-
it's going anywhere.
but then
the
as
money
long as
comes to you.
So
as
the
long
money
as you're
it comes
active,
back to M-Pesa.
But
Okay,
as long
so-
as you're active.
So
Well,
Dona Sema, as
Pesa-
long as you're active, you don't need to pay
You
that
don't need to-
so
1,000.
sasa unajua hii kitu ya active is relative. For me, I used to, in fact, prior to Daima service coming, I was doing the active, like you're saying, making sure that I put M-Pesa in, nini. And then I also figured out that even if you have M-Pesa, they can still kill your line. Because your M-Pesa
You
never
have
goes away.
to
You can always go
To
and...
keep your line, you have to add airtime. That's what I got. To
Yes.
You have to add airtime at least
so-
once every 3 months, I think.
And so this Daima service adds airtime for you over the duration of that nini. So I think I took the 2-year one or something, or 3-year, and I paid 2,000. So every month it adds you 20 bob or something like that. There's something weird that it does.
So it will keep adding.
They keep yes, that's the way it adds. It adds that money that you've paid. There's an allocated amount that they add to your airtime.
Okay.
So that by that time frame, when that's all over, then you would have.
Oh, so your 2K in and up towards your airtime.
It will go towards
okay,
your
okay,
airtime.
that makes sense.
So the way I think they programmatically, the way they have it in there is that they'll throw 20 bob or 30 bob every
Yeah.
month into your airtime.
yeah.
For your particular phone, and that to me worked. It
No,
worked.
that works well. Me, I thought you were just paying 1,000 and
no,
just
they
to
if
keep
you
the line
go
alive.
and look at the Daima service and you see what the Daima service does and how it does it, it even tells you that every
And
month.
can you enroll while you're in the US, or you have to be in Kenya?
You can enroll while now. See, that's the thing about it is if you're using the online app, the Safaricom
Yeah.
app, you can enroll
Okay.
because remember that app is connected.
Okay, sawa. You up, I'll try. Uno Mike.
Your experience with KQ. Then we wind up.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. What airline did you use when you went home?
Anyway. KQ, okay. Overall, KQ was...
I will give you 10 minutes.
Okay, overall KQ was not... Going was not a bad experience. Except for the fact that there's no Wi-Fi. KQ, please explain to us...
You explain to us the journey.
Yeah.
Because some people may not understand. I think people who are not in the East Coast don't even get that KQ flight.
Yeah, so that's right. So to JFK, it's a very convenient flight. You fly from, for those who are familiar with the DMV area, you fly from DCA Airport early in the morning, and you get to New York, you have enough time. I think like a 5-hour
It's
layover.
about 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Let's say 3 to 5.
Yeah, so that was a good experience. That was a pleasant experience. The customer service before flight, I'm not talking about the attendants in flight, but just the customer service before flight and after flight can be a bit wanting sometimes, and I think that's because we're
Are you
looking...
talking about the KQ notification system? Is that what you're talking about?
No, just trying to figure out something, just trying to call to figure out something like...
Okay, like if you need a special diet,
Yeah.
or if you have some other
that's
needs.
that's
and things like
complicated
that.
because first of all they don't wanna give you, they wanna charge you for
Yes.
seats. Like if you
Yes.
wanna like select what seat you wanna select,
Correct.
they wanna charge you for that. So it's difficult now to make those selections, and you wanna make selection for a halal meal, you know, like it's almost like they wanna charge you for everything.
So did you try to use the app, the KQ app?
Nope.
Note to self: if you ever do fly with them again, download the app. I had to end up. I downloaded the app, and because I was doing Delta KQ, which is what the same thing you did, I
Yeah.
had both apps, and my points were basically going towards the
Delta.
towards Delta.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the dispensation, or should I say how they allocated, it didn't make sense because going to Kenya, I got more points than when I was coming back. But
Those things
and
never
I was
make
like,
sense.
okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's the same, but it's like the miles coming back, going was something like 7,000 miles. Coming back was something
They change,
was like 5K.
Yeah.
Or almost like, I was like, okay, wait. So are you saying that it's half, the miles is half the time, but then you, or is it me who doesn't understand the mathing, or it didn't add up because
Yeah.
what the miles I got going are not the same miles that I got coming back, yet it's the same exact journey. So to me, it didn't make any sense at all. The experience for me, because I went earlier on than when you did, the best part about it for anybody who is taking that flight, if you ever do take it, is, okay, one, you know you're not going to get Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Two, if you're going to go through and connect, especially from the DMV area, since you're doing a local flight to New York, when you check your extra baggage, they will charge you at domestic rate, which means you're not paying $200 for
Yeah.
that suitcase. You're paying $75.
Yeah.
Note to self. Just anybody, if you think I'm lying, you can go do your research. But that's what I paid. Now, coming back from Kenya, if I had an extra suitcase, I would pay $200.
Yeah.
I think it was actually $250. Sorry, on KQ it's $250 coming back, because you're being checked on the international side.
Okay.
So, but they check you all the way through. So your bags are checked all the way through when you start from DCA or from your local domestic flight. And that's what happened. So my bags were checked all the way through. I got to New York and just, went to the gate and went through and got on the flight. What I didn't like about New York, and maybe Ali, you had the same experience, was it almost seemed like at some point there was not much information about that particular flight, and maybe because we were there for quite a long time. And then even at the gate, it's almost like the people who are there almost are like, I don't know, it's like they're there, but they're not there.
So there needs to be an improvement of this service, especially the coming back part. So I could deal with the going and no Wi-Fi. It's sometimes good to digitally detox, but I think that's something that they need to fix, especially if they're looking to fly business people. A lot of people will not take that flight simply because it does not have Wi-Fi.
Correct.
I think they need to.
By the way, it
realize
was
that.
uncomfortable. I don't know if you had that same experience. For me, it's like I felt like the cushions ni kazi ilikuwa zimeisha.
No,
So-
me yangu ilikuwa my experience was okay. The food,
Was that Kenyan food going?
I don't even know. That's not Kenyan food. It's not. I don't know what food it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
My experience was that's not Kenyan food going.
It's not Kenyan food. Yeah.
Coming back, I had, in fact, hata products zilikuwa, hata kulikuwa na Mama Lady ya Zesta,
Yeah.
kulikuwa na sijui ni, so I was like, okay,
Which was
yes,
a good thing.
Yeah, there's food over here, but they didn't serve ugali, which is interesting.
Which is weird.
Yeah. I'm
Now the coming back part is where there's an issue. So apparently, so our takeoff was delayed, and apparently that flight always is delayed from other people who've used it. There's always a delay. So we're supposed to arrive in New York by 6:30 a.m., but we ended up arriving at 8:45. Now my connecting flight was 8:55. So there's no way, that I'm making it to that flight. Lucky enough, I did not book directly with KQ. I booked through an agency, and the agency promptly purchased the ticket for me, like they reissued the ticket for me. Now, all those who booked directly through KQ were on the KQ counter, and KQ doesn't have someone at the airport. It's just somebody who's not from KQ. So all these people had to wait for KQ to, I think, to book, and then that's when they got their tickets, which is very, very unfortunate. So there are so many people who missed their flights.
So did they, like, I know there's somebody who who was on that flight. So did they get a ticket on the same flight as you?
Yes, they got the ticket on the same flight as me, but it was booked much later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were in limbo for a couple
They
of
were
hours.
in limbo for a couple of hours where they don't know what's
There
going
was no
on.
communication, and then it's like you try to call your connect in Nairobi
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes, and then good luck with the phone. Like
That 1-800 call KQ was 1-800 don't
yeah.
call me.
Yeah, just good luck with that. So Swapo KQ, we love the fact that KQ comes to New York, but I think there's still a lot of improvement that's needed, especially if we are to compete with the Qatars, the
Or-
Ethiopians,
yes.
and the Emirates.
And by the way, Etihad is back.
Etihad is back.
Etihad started service January 1.
In fact, very interesting. I spent so much time at JFK Airport. Mbaka even met Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was actually boarding an Etihad. He was going to Abu Dhabi. I don't know what he was going to do, but he was boarding an Etihad. So yeah, Apple KQ, man, like we don't want to say a lot of bad things, but we need some improvement. We need some improvement because this is a very popular flight. It has people from other countries who are connecting to other African countries. So KQ, please, let's work on that. But very amazing service from the flight attendants. Very kind, very professional. That was a good thing.
I overall would never take that flight again unless I have a hookup for business class. I don't know about other people, and I paid a lot of money. I paid $2,000 for that flight. And
that flight was expensive. The date you're traveling to.
It's not a cheap flight. I don't care what anybody says. It's not a cheap flight.
No, it's not.
And the people who I came back with also were complaining. They live in Tacoma Park, funnily enough. They were traveling, it was a couple plus their baby. And they complained. In fact, they said they would rather any day do Emirates. In fact, they're like, never ever. Like, this is my first time, it's my last time, never ever.
Yeah, especially if you're traveling with a family, that adds another layer of complication.
They said zero. Now, they had a cot, because we were in the front, those 3 front seats behind business class where they have so they had the ability, there's a cot they bring for you. They were cut that there, and the toy slept all through. In fact, that toy, I've not seen a toy who's good like that one. I'm telling you, that one, I was like, wow. Yanu mtoi amelala minimum 10 hours. Total minimum 10 hours. No cry.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Because I knew I was done. And when I looked, I saw who was sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Nekajo hapa ni mbaya.
Kwisha.
I was like, kwisha me. I was like, this is the one time when I think I have a leg room and nini, and I've been.
Yeah.
But it worked out. However, they were complaining because they normally fly Emirates.
Yeah.
They're like, Emirates any day. Comfort level, room, sijui nini, service, chakula. In fact, even the guy was complaining. He's married to a Kenyan. He's Mzungu. But he's like, this is not Kenyan food. I'm like, what do I even tell him? And he's right.
Yeah.
He's like, this food is like, it was questionable. And he was talking about especially the one that left New York going to Kenya.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I always get this feeling that when the flights that we take from here, the last leg, if we go through Europe, we always get a bad plane. Like the,
Yeah.
the better planes are the leg coming from Europe to the US.
Yes.
But the planes that are basically going from the leg that is from Europe going to Kenya are the worst of the worst that you could ever get in whatever airline it is. At least that's been the experience that I have seen with the planes. But at least those had Wi-Fi, man. I'm telling you, 14 hours of Bila Wi-Fi, and then the movie selection, worst ever. Worst ever. I don't care what anybody tells me. The worst ever. In fact, those are times when I'm saying I wish I had an iPad and I had downloaded
But at least there was
something.
Wakanda Forever.
No, there was Nairobi Half-Life.
There was Nairobi Half-Life
Yeah.
too. Yeah, but
Yeah,
but
Wakanda
it was
Forever
it
was
was
there.
it was a very poor selection of movies. I agree with you.
Very, even the African content, or should I say everything from Africa. There was 2 Kenyan movies, and I think 6 West African. That's it in terms of African selection. But never ever again. Yeah, I would not, unless there's a hookup somewhere. Somebody tells me a motion to business class. I have a hookup for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
Hakuna.
that. Nah, zero.
Wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Almost fire buda boss. Kade, tukaende.
What? We are back opening day. I think we are gonna ease ourselves pole.
Kabisa.
And as you can see, the Eagles need to win, Kesho. I know there's an Aka guy over here who's feeling that I think he took the whole maroon concept extra. Yani ameichukua na timu yake, ameichukua na shule yake, sijui na kifua yake. The only thing is he doesn't drive a maroon car. But anyway, shari yake. Eagles got this. Have a good week. And to everybody else who's out there, our fans, we are back. We are easing ourselves pole. Mikasi, don't forget that we are the guys who you know. We were there before others. Peace.
All right. Asante sana DJ Moshfire. Hapa Bobby Rungu alikuwa anasema true flight back from Nairobi is always delayed and the communication is wanting never again. And then Jodo Mole anasema standards are not to be compromised. So KQ, please pay heed because you're going to start losing customers.
By the way,
And these
Jodo,
things
I was
keep
with
happening.
Jodo. Ako kajodo ka kichwa kubwa. Unajua vile Jodo waga mkubwa, you realize how big he is when you're in Kenya.
Jodomole.
Yeah.
Yes, but Jodo is a big guy, man.
Yeah.
You,
No, he's a big dude. Even when I see him, I'm like,
let me
this
tell
son
you,
of
you
a
realize how big
tongue,
he is when you're in Kenya.
Yeah, of course in Kenya. You know,
No, is his stature? There's
No.
big.
Like
As in-
he's huge.
Homondo.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's huge. He's tall. He's wide.
you
He's
know
nini.
in Kenya people are smaller, so
And
when
I'm
you're
like-
big, you even start feeling
The guy is-
feeling big.
is-
You know the way he
Stands
grabs that Guinness bottle of his, it looks like he's
let me
just
tell you,
holding
the
like
guy-
a small.
no, but I know
No, a 12-ounce chupa.
He's not drinking Guinness when he's in Kenya, bana. Standards zime.
Guinea.
Yeah.
Oh, zimepanda.
Yes.
Jodo Omo. Hey, Jodo Omera, what is?
Hey,
Password.
Yeah, but we had a good time. We hung out. We had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, like again, I want to thank the listeners. It's day one jitters. 2025 will be an amazing year. Let us know what guests you want. We have a lot of surprises for you this year. So stay tuned. Na kwa wale ambao wanataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile 1-800 mteule. Na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu. Na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Until next week, be blessed.
Nemo, Jerry, Adrian.